Hey, how we doing out there? First things first, my name is Kenneth Bird. My company is Black Series Edition LLC. We're going to use these videos. And the reason why we're going to use these videos, this is a perfect example of why testing is extremely important when it comes to screen paint products. The reason why these white level tests have to be done, the reason why all these rigorous testing we put our screen paints through, why they had to be done, so that way we don't have screens popping up looking like this. This is a perfect example. As a matter of fact, I'm getting pictures today from this particular image here to post on the website of what you do not want. This is for to help customers out. What you do not want. This is a perfect example of a screen paint that was a black screen paint at that wasn't properly tested for white levels, which is extremely important. This is something that has to be tested with ultra short throw with white levels, has to be tested with 1,000 lumens with white levels, and of course, whopping 5,000 lumens with white levels to see if the screen can pick up. Now, what you're seeing here is, this is a fellow who makes these screen paint products. Keep in mind, you don't have to worry about ever buying them. The site is never open, so that's one of the other issues right there. And this particular product is a seasonal paint, which means we can't even tell what that even means. No one knows what that means, a seasonal paint. It doesn't give what season the paint's available. There's nothing there at all, period. It's just seasonal paint. So as far as I'm concerned, it's not even available. But anyway, from looking at the pictures, this is a poor example of a black screen paint that's claiming to be able to pull white levels. You really can't make out the buildings. The buildings are completely darkened because you need that white level to be able to actually be able to push the image through. And as you can see here, we're an expert in the field of black technology. I've been doing black technology 8 years ago before some of these people even existed on YouTube. But this is an extremely bad image coming off this screen. I want you to see how dirty this is. This is very, very dirty. Now, the reason why the screen's having this issue, because again, it was never tested. You have to test black technology. It's very important. This is an extremely hard and temperamental product to design. You can't just come out and say, hey, look, I've got this black screen paint and just put it on the market because it gives off a little bit of light, and that's basically about it. That's all you need to do. Now, this image is extremely poor. There's no way in the world I would coat this on anything. Now, as I told you before, the theory behind black technology is that black technology is better used in really dark environments due to the fact that the surface is really, really dark, and it's going to have a really hard time accepting and understanding white light. So that's why the best way they can show these screens off, they have to be in the dark. Very rare you will see screens being produced in fully lit environments under black technology because, again, like I said, this is what I was told by professionals. The reason why you don't see demonstrations on black screens in the fully lit environments because the screen has a very difficult time, supposed to have a very difficult time gathering white light to produce a brighter image. Doesn't make a difference what the gain is. It has to be to understand and read white light. So that's why they plunge them in darker environments, because it's a better chance for the screen to heighten its white levels. Anytime you see a demonstration on this product right here, it is going to be an extremely dark environment to pull up its white levels, but still you're going to see a little tint of blue or a little bit of a dark shadows around the corners, and this is the screen still having problems. Most likely they would do is zoom up really close to the screen so that way you won't see the borders that are coming up really dark around the screen. Like I said, this is a perfect example of why they have to be tested. Perfect example. So we'll be taking pictures off of this because this is a perfect example to have for our demonstrations when we show people what you want to see and what you don't want to see. And this is definitely something you don't want to see. It's way too dark. It should never come up looking that dirty. So I'm going to show you two sets. We have ours, which I did a couple of inflatable screens. And then we have this, which we're going to be using as an example. Just like with Jamie, we suggest that people, if you're buying a great product, you must request for these tests. Tests are needed. All our products are tested because, again, you could run the risk of having a product literally match a house paint. And it happened in a demonstration. The guy matched house paint right there on camera and then continued to sell the same house paint on his website like it never even happened. This is why you have to ask these questions. This is why tests are required. There is no way in the world that image should ever came up that dark. I know that demonstration right there. That's extremely bad. So let me show you right here. And if you notice in the demonstration, there were no white levels being displayed anywhere. They can't show white levels because that's not going to pick up. If they're having an extremely difficult time just picking this up, imagine what a white level would look like. They would have to do that in a dark environment in order to do that. All right, so let me show you what the screen is, how the projection screen is supposed to react. Right here. We'll come down. We got inflatable screens here and here. All right. This is my inflatable screen here. This is my technology. There you go. That's how it's supposed to look. It's supposed to be outside, I'm outside, plenty of light making contact with the screen, and you see how the image is bright from corner to corner? That's how it's supposed to come up on a black surface. Welcome by the camera. That's how your image is supposed to come up clean and sharp. And you should be showing more than just one thing. You should be showing multiple displays. Here we go. Nice bright colors. As I told you before, see how the colors pop up? See how it's bright from corner to corner? See how it's so dark, some shadow look to it? That's when I see a lot of black paints. What was one called iPaint screens? iPaint screens had the same issue where they weren't bringing up a high enough white level. They come with that really dark, shadowy look across the screen. That is supposed to be crystal clear. We call it oversaturation of contrast. When a screen is generating too high of a contrast level, that's what that nickname is called. And that's what happens in the screen we just saw. It's producing too high of a contrast level. That's why they stuck to the contrast levels, because they already knew from the door, see, screen solid black, that they knew from the door that the contrast level would show the white levels would be a little bit lower. But yeah, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to show, your video should be a little bit longer than that, a lot longer than that. So you have to display those white levels, you have to display contrast and color, the whole 9 yards. And that screen is supposed to be sharp from corner to corner. There's not supposed to be any shadows or anything at all popping up. That's what the white level tests are for. Anytime you see me take white surface, white sheets, white projection screens that slam across the screen, and we show those white levels popping up, that's what that test is designed to do. So we know when we're engineering this stuff that we know exactly where our white levels are hitting at. So we're going to take pictures of this and pictures of what we have, what we just saw on that inflatable screen, and put them side by side for a form site today. It's a perfect example when I sit there and I said that these tests have to be done. There's a reason why those tests have to be done. See how clean that image comes up? None of that black should be overshadowing and covering any of this. It shouldn't even be in there. This comes from, and this is the sad thing about it, this comes from people who have no knowledge on how to make these products, and they rush them right out the door. There's no testing before. I guarantee if I go try to look for a white level test, I can't find one. This is why, at the end of the day, gentlemen, why people will buy from me and not buy from you. Because we have test results. I know what a poorly black screen looks like. Their contrast level is so oversaturated into the screen you could barely see it. Look at now, mind you, in my demonstrations, you will see everything. We show bright colors, everything. We want to make sure the customer has an understanding of what they're buying. And this is what we see and your demonstrations. Let me go back here, make sure we got it from here to here. Oh, we're in the same one, the same loop. Okay, perfect. Right there. Should never be that dark, ever. Can't even make out anything in the in the picture. Not a thing. No testing was done. You've done no testing on your product at all, period. That's horrible. That is absolutely horrible. I don't know what's worse, this part or this part I've seen over here. This is supposed to be super bright. This is a city scene. This should be a nice blue, beautiful starlit sky. This is supposed to be super bright. This is a city scene, and you should be to see the reflection of these lights bouncing off the water. As you can see right here, you can't see it. You can't even see the shoreline. It's completely dark. Your contrast levels are extremely too high. There is no balance here at all, period. And again, we're searching for a white level test. We can't find one. You haven't tested this product. This is a product you mixed, gave a whole bunch of excuses to, and pushed on the internet. There's another company called iPaint Screens. I'm gonna check out the iPaint Screens. Actually is much better than this, but still the levels come up too dark. This is supposed to be grass right here, bushes right here. You can't even see this. You can't even properly see the white lines in the road. You can't even see the city lights behind the back of it. Do you imagine if you bought a TV and it looked like this? This is extremely bad. The white levels here on the writing is brighter literally than the white levels here. That's horrible. That's black paint. We can tell that's black paint. That's definitely black paint. That is definitely black paint. Jeebus Louise. That is absolutely, that's awful. So we're going to get pictures from this. We're taking these pictures right here. This is a perfect example why we explain to people why testing is extremely important. As a matter of fact, I'm going to double copy of this. I'm going to record a copy of this. And without his voice in it, we're just going to record a copy of it. And we're going to put an educational page onto the website of what customers should be looking for. This is something you do not want to put on a screen, on your projection screen. He ruined the screen. He literally ruined it. Did he show a side angle on this? No, you can't show a side angle. It won't even pick up. Oh, that's bad. That's really bad. Hold on for a minute. That's extremely bad. I just saw that a few minutes ago. He streaked the daylights out of the screen. Right there. See it? He streaked the daylights out of it. I told you, because of that thin coating is awful. See the light pushing through the screen right there? That didn't even paint well. That means this product doesn't have good coverage. We've seen that before already. The product doesn't have good coverage because it has all that water in it, and that weakens the base of the product. That's why you have to do a ton of passovers the screen in order to get the image to pull up. That is really bad. I was wondering what that light was in the background. What was that? Why was it so light? Was it something reflecting off it? No, that's the actual light on the opposite side of the screen pushing through. That is awful. No one's going to use a product and ruin it. That's a ruined screen. That's a lot of streak marks. There shouldn't be any light passing through that screen at all, period. Look at it. It's thick in here. Oh, wow. That's really bad. I didn't even see that when I first looked at it. That is really bad. That's a horrible paint job. Very bad paint job. Can't even read what it's saying right here. His white levels are way too low. What's the name of this video? Let me see. Let me pull this one up. projector running behind us right now. We'll pull up the exact same video. And this is why they think it's a joke. But no, you have to do tests. Your product needs to be tested. A white level test is the first test you got to put against a black screen. Has to be done. That shit has to be done before you even ship out or even sell the product. If you're not, you come up with this mess right here. That has to be tested. That's awful. Absolutely awful. What's the name of this video? I don't know that. That's interesting. Somebody can track down that video. What's this right here? Do this one. Well, you missed a whole section of that video. It's not even in there. They got a couple of these. I'm gonna play around this today. All right, I'll be doing that one. Excuse me, people. Find that exact video. That's way too long. Oh, they got a couple of demonstrations on here we gotta check out. Okay. What's this one here? I don't know what that's all about. We ain't doing that. Let me see. Let's finish. You're gonna play this one through while I'm doing this. We'll connect this real quick. Oh, we got a commercial. Come on now. What the freak? I love when these things just pop in. That's the end of this video. That's how short your video is? Wow. That's it? Yeah, there's nothing. That's what I'm talking about. This is the reason why our videos are so long. There's so much information it's supposed to show up on that screen. That's a very short video demonstration. You should have had color levels on there. You should have had white level comparisons on there. Especially a white projection screen. You should have did a side-by-side to a white projection screen, especially when you're outside, showing the advantage points of this technology, what can't call it technology, this paint versus a white screen. You're supposed to have those demonstrations out there. You can't do that because the white surface will be much better than that. It would definitely pick up much better. Let's see. Demonstrations I haven't even seen yet. Oh, I'm definitely doing that one. That's really high white level. We definitely gonna do that one. All right. This is extremely bad. See that dark right there? That dark shadow right there? This is extremely bad. Look how dark your buildings went. That's extremely bad. And again, no white screen out there. You're supposed to have a white screen out there. You're supposed to do that demonstration at 1,000 lumens. Just to give you an idea of where your screen is supposed to be at and where it's not at. Another thing they fail to show in the demonstration, where's the projector sitting? Now there's my outdoor screen there. I can come in here and show you my inflatable. See right here? These are tests. These are test demonstrations of us testing the product outside to see how much light the screen can absorb. This is a white level test. This is the stuff you fail to do in your demonstrations. These are white level tests. These are our tests on our pre-coded screens. Where's your white level test? You don't have one. That's why your screen didn't react right. This is why I warn people, before you go out and buy these products, make sure they have these tests attached to their screens. That white level test we have here allows me to see exactly where the white levels lay at on the technology. So when it's a finished product, I can go do this. Because my technology can read white light because we did the test. When you don't do the test, your screen's going to come out too dirty because you didn't do the test. This is why we're going to be using those demonstrations as an example what you don't want to see on a black screen paint. Since people now are faking it and not doing it correctly. All right, let me go over here and track this down. I'm definitely doing that. I haven't seen that demonstration in a while. Now I'm calling, not just one person, but I'm calling out anybody who makes black technology and don't do tests. You know I'm going to request tests, right? If you don't have these tests, that means your product is not working correctly. You have to do these tests. White level test is extremely important. See how bright my images come up? See, I can see the shine even on the cherries. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a recording of your video. I don't want your voice on it. I'm going to put it side by side to our video here. So people can see side by side what you want and what you don't want. See how those bright levels come up from corner to corner? That's what you want to see. You don't want to see dirty shadows. So when I cover the screen up, my screen's 100% solid black. And we definitely know we hit a nerve, and I'll tell you why. We received a few angry emails. We know who from. But we know at the end of the day where they came from, but don't care. As long as there's nothing stupid in there. At the end of the day, it's just somebody ranting because they're very upset because they got outed. Your products are not tested. Your images should never come up that dark, ever. And judging by the fact that you try to put that product out on the market with not even being proper tested and looking that dark to begin with, clearly shows you have no idea what you're doing. An expert would have saw that mistake from the door. He would have seen it like, oh, no, that's too dark. That's not going to work. But the fact that you didn't see that and you thought that was okay to put out on the market clearly shows you have no idea what you're doing. So as I said before, from what I've seen in that black paint that you make over there, the reason why you have it marked seasonal, because again, this is a product you don't want to make available. You want to make it look like it's available, but you don't want to ever launch it. You can't launch it. It's too dirty. It hasn't been tested properly. Now, question, what do you have? Well, you don't have anything, to tell you the truth, you can't open the website. But what do you have in your category that can take on any of our technology over here? Nothing. The great technology against that thing behind the back of us, or any of the black technology, no, we would crush that with no problem. Certifies, we can roll over certifies with no problem. Your black technology, well, white level test, I could crush your screen easy in a white level test with no problem. We generate a higher white level. We can lay sheets of white paper against our screen and generate high white levels. You can't do that. Screen call, we're going to look at a company called Paint On Screens. Paint On Screens is another company. We call themselves, put out a product, no test attached to it whatsoever, and the image had the same reaction. Theirs came up a little better than his, but still had the same reaction. It was really dark around the corners, that shadow dark look to it. Just because you design a black screen paint and you think for a hot second that because you can see a contrast level, big deal, black paint can pick up a contrast level, black paper, black film, all that can pick up a black level. The most important thing on a black screen that has to generate is white light, and it has to be a proper balance. White light can't be too high, because if it's too high, then basically you mess up the contrast. It has to be a balance in there. You guys don't see the balance. Okay, let me go over here real quick.
Hi, I'm Agent Mead, and this is the lab.
Now, the reason why he chose, when he did the demonstration again, the reason why he chose to do the demonstration on the gray screen, he was nowhere in the world he could stick that black screen and that much light, that screen would have went dark, completely dark. You can't compare a gray screen to a black screen. You just can't. I'm sorry, but you can't. I know you guys want to badly, but you can't do that. I don't see any black diamond demonstrations, no certified heavy gunmetal demonstrations versus your products at all, period. So how in the world are you going to challenge us at the end of the day? We can take on gunmetal. See how bright those levels come up? Even in black contrast, you have to be to pull high white levels. It's very important. Extremely important. Tests have to be done. I know you don't want to do them, but guess what? They have to be done. I found a slew of demonstrations, which is fantastic because I got to paint this screen today as 150 inch on the wall. Let me get ready. There's my demonstration right there. So when you're looking at a black screen, all right, one of the tests that you have to request It's a white level test. It's extremely important. It means the difference. You don't want your image coming up too dirty and too dark. Isn't that interesting that you guys did these demonstrations against my products coming up too dark and unwatchable? And here it is, your very products do the exact same thing that you claim my product to be. Too dark and unwatchable. You got some nerve, don't you? Well, whenever that so-called ghost paint, because that's what we call your products, ghost paints now, you can't find them. They're ghost paints. I can go to your website right now and I bet you it's closed. Bet you it's closed. There's no excuse for that. A website, that's the beautiful thing about a website. It can stay open as long as you want. It's the days that you process the orders. I'm looking at a couple ones over here. I haven't done this one in a while either. I'm gonna check this one out. Now we already know that the black technology is not going to be equal to a white screen, but it has to be to produce a high enough white level where it doesn't come up dark and dirty. And the fantastic thing about your video, we're going to use that video as an example of what you don't want in a black projection screen paint. That's why I'm dubbing that video. Don't bother deleting it. We're going to make a copy of that and show people what you don't want. Judging by what I've seen on that screen, that's black paint. That's nothing but black and white paint. That's what it is. That's the reaction that we got when we actually tried to make products that if people were trying to mimic our products, what it would look like. And that's one of the ones that came up looking exactly like that, which is black and white paint. And judging by the streak marks in the screen, because your screen is really hard to paint because it's watered down, it's weak, it's a weakened product, that's water in it. Pretty much it's just black and white paint with probably about half a quart of water in it. That's why the screen's streaked up so bad. This is what you're supposed to be looking for. Corner to corner. Corner to corner. When you're looking at black technology, it should come up super bright. Man, I better never hear out of y'all mouths that my technology comes in too dark. After seeing that monstrosity a few minutes ago, that is absolutely horrible. Let's go. Ooh, I wanted to do this one over here. This has some insane white levels attached to it. That's another thing I didn't see in the demonstration. I saw no white levels. And I guarantee you, if we go dig up some white levels, I guarantee they're in the dark. I guarantee you. That's what I don't like about when people do demonstrations like that. They pick and choose what they want to show in that environment. Video was way too short, extremely short. I'm gonna check out that company called iPaint Screen, see if I can track them down too. trying to dig up any customer reviews. We can't find nothing. I don't even know why you're making videos. You should not be making any videos. You don't have any product to sell. That site is always closed. Always closed. Now, I'm going to show you something real quick. This is Partey right here. That's Partey. See right there. Mad and upset. He's angry. You know why he's angry? Because his product doesn't work. He's exposed. What are you mad at me for? Your website. You can't even open your website up. That sounds like a person can't back their products up. You advertise stuff, but you can't open up your website. Your products are coming up too dark and dirty. It's right there. Everybody can see it. Products are made out of majority of water. That's pretty bad. You're selling nothing but water. How much of that paint is your customer getting if they can buy your product? If they can buy your product. From what we've seen in the container, half of that's water. So they're really not getting $160 of their money at that. That's even worse. You don't even know the proper gain of your product. You put down 2 gains. Who does that in a projection screen? Tell the truth in one section, you lie in another section. It's craziness. And then everything on your website, it matches the screen in your theater room. But you try to do a demonstration of something completely different, a different product that try to show it did match, and it did. Your product did match. We all saw the video. You can't come back in and change it and say, oh, this is how it is now. No, we saw it match. And you want to get mad at me and curse me out? Your products don't work, man, and this is why your website's always closed. You can't sell something at the end of the day that you know you're going to get mass returns on it. No one's going to buy that stuff. And on top of that, the instructions. I painted a motorized projection screen with one hand, with a cell phone. Not only did I paint the screen, but I displayed it at the same time. It took you 4 coats to paint a screen. With a whole bunch of dumb nonsense attached to it. Yes, I'm doing some fake demonstrations. And again, I can't explain this enough. Where are your tests? You have no tests under your product. I've looked. I'm even looking for customer reviews right now. I can't find anybody. Nobody. And you want to talk about customer reviews? Well, guess what? The minute you pop on my YouTube channel, there's a church displaying my screen on display. And that so-called gymnasium that you call that was your work at the end of the day, there's no projection screens in that picture. We blew it up. There's no screens in there. Where would you put your name to that? You're doing nothing but lying the entire time. That's a perfect example why you have to request tests. Perfect example why these tests need to be requested. Very upset, very angry. See his reaction? And now mind you, we have emails from him that had the same category of cursing just like that. That's how we know it's him. Very upset, very angry. Well, make a product that works next time. I'm not looking for your customer reviews. I can't find any. Gee whiz Louise, man, I can't find one customer review. I'm hunting right now while you guys are watching that. We can't find one customer review. I can't find anything. There's nobody who has this product. I can't even find a church that you claim you work these churches. Jim, I can't find nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a fake plan. The only thing real in this ad is that 100%.
This is supposed to be your gray screen paint. This is what? A couple years back? This is absolutely really bad. And then you're on the small screen. You gotta have on a much bigger screen than that. Hold on, I'm gonna take my stand here to act right on me. There we go. Let's have a look at this. Now, there's another company we're going to check out too called iPaint Screens, but we're going to be using his example. His iPaint Screen is a little better than this. A little better than that. Let me put my pause on back here behind me for this, and let's go check out this. We couldn't find anything. This is supposed to be the black projection screen paint. This is supposed to be black. If you look at the bottom, you'll clearly see he's claiming this to be a black paint. Right there, see? So let's see if it's actually black. Now mind you, it shouldn't have any ash to the surface at all if it's black. Black screens don't have that ashy look to them. That's washed out on so many levels. It's not even funny. There's ash all over the surface. This is supposed to be black. Clearly you can see that's supposed to be black. I can't even make out what that is. I think that's a tree in the background. And then you have it on an ultra short throw projector at that. That's even worse, because that means that it's worse when it's on an ultra short throw projector, because the projector is literally sitting on top of the screen. This is why when we do tests on demonstrations, we don't use the ultra short throws in our tests. We use them to show that the screen is ultra short throw compatible. We don't do main tests with ultra short throws because it's misleading to the customers. You get a different reaction if you're using a long throw. Long throw has to travel to make it to the screen, which means that screen can maintain at about 20 feet, 30 feet, 18 feet, 19 feet from the screen and still hit the screen, because we know it's going to lose lumen counts by the time it makes it to the screen, depending on how much light's in the environment. This shows the screen can maintain in fully lit environments even at a distance throw. When using an ultra short throw projector, you pretty much eliminate the distance throw, which is cheating. You're not supposed to use those, especially when you're showing the screen. You only show ultra short throws when you're showing your product it's compatible. That's what you show them for. That's why when I see Jamie doing these demonstrations, fail from the door. You do not do tests, your main test, on ultra short throw. A distance throw has to show that that screen can put the projector back there. It can travel at a distance, loosen the lumen count, weaken the projector's capability to produce that image, and that screen can grab whatever lumens is left and still generate a bright image right back at you. That's why that test is very important. That's why we love the test called the sunbather. We stuck that projector 1,000 lumens outside, had the sun hit it, diminished the lumens from the door, and had it pushed through all that environment with all that light, pushed through I think it was a 400 watt light bulb, whatever it was, and basically hit that screen and produce. When you use ultra short throw, this is cheating, because you're sitting right up on top of the screen. That's like if I take one of these venue projectors and I push it right up against the screen and put it in a fully lit environment, or it's about a couple inches from the screen. Of course, it's not going to have any issues. But the fact that this is having issues with no distance throw attached to it is really bad. That's a very washed out and dirty image. Look at this. When all that blends together, that's really bad. That screen's not picking up any contrast whatsoever. Show that smoky ash to it you're seeing all over the screen. That's what happens when the screen is having a really difficult time picking up contrast. The sad thing about this when you watch these demonstrations is these are perfect examples too. We're gonna do all of these. These are perfect examples of what you don't want your screen paint to look like. This is really bad. This is supposed to be, this is really bad. Look at the end, look at the boat. You can't even see inside of the boat. There's supposed to be detail inside of the boat. I'm pretty sure when they made this demonstration for TVs, they want to show as much detail as possible. Nobody in their right mind is going to drop down money for a TV if it looks like this the minute you turn it on. That's absolutely horrible. You can't make anything out. But the sad thing about it is that people who basically make these products, they feel because if you can see the image, doesn't have to be great. If you can see the image, it's considered to be a deal. It's not a deal. That is absolutely horrible. Look how washed out right here. This is supposed to be detailed. This is a scuba gear. You can't even see it correctly. It's washed out. Kind of reminds me, I told you, of the 64 games when if we ever played Turok, it had a lot of like smoky fog to it. Kind of cover up the background a little bit because there was a lot of detail going on in the background. That is so washed out. That's horrible. Look at that. That is an octopus. I do a lot of demonstrations on fish. That is supposed to be extremely vivid. This is all washed out. This is all ash. Mind you have it on an ultra short throw projector, which means your projector is sitting literally right on top of your screen and it can't produce. That's extremely poor. All of this, look at this. This is horrible. Jeebus Louise, man. And look at the size of the screen. He could have made the screen much bigger. The reason why he stuck with the size that small because he was trying to compress the pixels. Smaller image, brighter, sharper image. That's what he was going for. If he expanded this out, oh, his thing would have washed it even worse. That's horrible. That's absolutely horrible. Look at this. That's absolutely horrible. And this is supposed to be black. Is this screen actually black? Because when I'm looking at the borders, that doesn't look black to me. Let me see right here. So you turn the projector off to show if the screen is physically black. That's horrible, man. That's awful. Absolutely awful. Seen that one already. That's a gray screen trying to be a black screen. No. We know what this one is. This is this guy matching house paint at the end of the day. Gee whiz Louise. So what we have at the top, we're hunting for customer reviews Parte AV paint mixes. We're trying to find anybody who has this product. And right now, let me see. No. Let me see. Oh, there's somebody right here. Yeah. And unhappy customer. Like I said, these screens wash out. These are a lot of fake demonstrations you have to be really careful about. This is somebody who's very upset with Crow because, again, his product didn't do well. His product came up dark and it came up dirty and they were very upset with it. It's house paint. People are testing these products and now finding this is nothing but house paint. You saw in the demonstration, he matched the house paint and their customers upset about that because they literally spent $90 for a house paint. This is another angry customer. Upset with Jamie. Your products are not tested. Where are your test demonstrations at, gentlemen? You don't have any. There's another person right here posted. It says Crow 1176 IB mix, do not use. Right there. That's a customer, and they're complaining about his products coming up too dark. I told you the problem with the UV mix we've had it here, the problem with the Frankenstein, that's a product that has basically, it's black and white paint. It just has more black than white in it. That's what it does. The problem is it can't read white light at all, period. It's extremely bad. I'm gonna check out this guy right here.
Let's do a story.
Okay, we checked all 4 systems and keep with the go.
Be in it.
Doing a quick video of Pro's IV mix. I purchased it a couple weeks ago, just before Super Bowl. I've been loving it. Nice.
Let me see. Okay. Dark environment. Does he have any contrast levels in the dark? Told you. I told you this from the door. He has to be in the dark to turn the contrast up because the screen can't pull up. Even with the UV mix, has an extremely hard time maintaining the contrast level. Look. Now, this is the part that kills me right here. I'm going to show you. Why do you guys point to the room in the next room? It has nothing to do with your screen at all. I don't know why they do that. See how we're dark here? Let me blow this up for a minute. See how we're dark here? All this is dark. See the baseboard at the bottom? This is one of the things you have to look for when you're watching demonstrations on screen paints. Check out the baseboard, check out the area. The area will actually make extremely dark to accommodate the screen because the screen can't pull up in fully lit environments. See the back here? This is supposed to be jet black. That's not supposed to be gray. See where that speaker's sitting? See how dark the environment is? These little dark corners? Not supposed to look like that at all, period. The environment's supposed to be well lit. I guarantee the lights go out. Told you. Now, can you see the speakers in the corners anymore? No, they turned the lights out. That's why. The only way that product can work is it has to be in the dark. Guess what else does the same thing? Network grade 773 and other great products will actually do the exact same thing. Get all contrast levels in the dark. Fireworks display in the dark. There you go. See, gentlemen, this is the reason why I want to tell you that your products are fake. And we were talking about black technology, but just to, to the gray products that are fake. Your products are fake. That customer literally showed off all those contrast demonstrations in the dark. He didn't have a choice. And even in the environment that he was sitting in that was extremely poorly lit, he still couldn't show off a contrast level because the screen couldn't pull it. And yet you guys come on and talk about, oh, it pulls a contrast level. No, it doesn't. Still looking for customer reviews on Partay's products. You're seeing a lot of insults. I'm not saying any customers. I can't find any of your customers. Let me see here. This would be us. And what we're looking for any customers, any part under the Partay. We're not finding them. What's this one? This is Vegas do-it-yourself mix. Let's see what we got here. It's not a customer. We can't find any customers. So who are all these people you're talking about? We can't find any. Dark environment again. And I'll show you where. See that blue light in the corner? There is no way in the world, if that environment was fully lit, that you should be to see illuminating blue light in the corner like that. Your environment is way too dark. Look at the dark shadows that are casting here and here and here. And you got that one little light there in the corner pushing up at the ceiling. This environment is dark. You can't call yourself the king of ambient light rejection technology if you're doing demonstrations like this. And on top of that, your screen's washed out. Look at that. Look how washed out that is. This is supposed to be bright green. These are different shades of green. It's completely washed out. Oh, gee whiz. Good gracious. Come on. You guys are... I'm thankful that your website's not open. This is a mess. Look at the ceiling. You have... Even your condensed lighting is off in the ceiling because you would have light here, here, and here if your condensed lighting was on. This is what I told you about. See how they put the screen under the lip, underneath here? So that way when the lighting's on, it gives it the illusion there's light hitting the screen, but there's actually nothing hitting the screen. The screen is tucked away in this corner. See? Told you. We see this all the time. Anytime I watch demonstrations, if it's not him, it's somebody else doing this exact same trick at the end of the day. Those lights have nothing to do with that screen. That screen is tucked far away from here. If you look at the bottom lip right along here, see how dark it is? None of that light's making contact. It's making contact here and here. It's not touching this because this is under a cliff. One of the little tricks they like to use when they basically try to make it look like their screen's being hit with ambient light. This is the stuff you got to watch out for. Look at the windows right here. Got the blinds halfway shut. How come we didn't lift those blinds all the way up? All right. Then we got the light on here with a shade on. That's not going near your screen. You can see it's nice and dark here, but the light's only pushing up here and here. Man, come on. You got to stop doing these fake demonstrations, really. Oh my goodness. The pinball? He's going to do the pinball. Colors are washed out on the pinball. Guarantee when it hits the black level, it's going to come up like ash. You're going to automatically see the ash around the screen right now. There you go. There's the ash right there. See this discoloration right here? That's not supposed to be there. That's supposed to be solid black. Your screen is not even black. Your screen is actually gray. So try to portray this as a screen that can see contrast levels. No. And again, that window over there is half shut. That blind needs to be all the way up. See that right there? This is the ash I talk about. This is where a screen can't accept and can't pick up contrast. If it can't see contrast, it can't see color. This is why you're told to calibrate. More of the ash right here. That's supposed to be black. You need to pause that. Coming back into that later on. So this product wasn't even tested. Now, Danny, I know this bothers you a bit and all, but we're looking for your tests. Can you show me some tests on this product? Same thing with iPaint screens. I contacted them too. I also asked them for tests on their demonstrations. White level tests. 180 lux. That's extremely poor for oh my goodness, for a lux reader. That's poor. My bathroom is brighter than that. I got a meter right here. I can go in my bathroom. My bathroom is literally brighter than that. And I can only turn on one light. I got two sets of lights in my bathroom. And I only just turn the ones in the mirror. And I'm brighter than 180 lux. That's bad. There's one of them. I'll make sure we get a clear shot of this. There we go. There's your ash. See that ash around the corners? Not supposed to have that. It's supposed to be solid black. This is for an OLED display. Keep in mind. Oh my goodness. Yeah, zoom up on it. Please do. Because this is not supposed to be gray. This is supposed to be black. Can you imagine spending like $30,000 for an OLED TV? You pop it out of the box and it looks like this in the corners. You can't even see the soda or the bubbles correctly. And that's all washed out. What else does he have on here? This is why they prefer to try to fit to the bright levels. Now, something I noticed too, that light you have in the corner, the brighter that light gets, that means the darker your environment is becoming. See how bright it is now? These are the things we look at when we watch demonstrations. Little key things in the environment that let us know the environment is changing slowly, but in a way where they're trying to sneak it to make it a little darker that you can't see it. Now his lights over top, he's dimming them. Because right now, see how dark it got around in the corners? And that little light in the corner right there, that bar light, is starting to illuminate brighter and brighter, which means the environment is becoming darker and darker. There you go. Now you see how dark the environment is? How much darker it got? Because the lights over top are off. That's why. Kind of like I'm reading your mind, isn't it? I know he's right there talking about how the freak. We know, because we got years of experience. I've seen this dozens and dozens of times. You're not the first person I run across who try to fake environment demonstrations. We see it all the time. You see the light that's pushing off of this all the way around here? Your environment's way too dark. Your overheads are not even on. That's ash. That's supposed to be black for that background right there. Okay, I'm done with that one. Next time, don't have this in here. This environment should be well lit. I mean, extremely well lit. You should be able to see everything in this environment crystal clear. All right. So looking for customers. This is what we're looking for. This is what the title we got. Looking for customer reviews for Parte AV screen paint mixes. We're not finding anybody. See, now you see the test demonstrations we're doing here? This is how well lit your environment has to be. You have to be to see. That's why you see me take the camera and walk around, and I show the baseboard, I show the ceiling, everything. That area has to be well lit. We're in this environment right now with all this light. I got a screen behind me playing right now with 2 white sheets of paper laying against it. I should have bumped into 1 customer demonstration by now. That's us. That's a motorized projection screen without our technology. And this is what it looks like when our technology hits it. I don't see you guys ever doing demonstrations like this with the projectors on. Matter of fact, I'm going to do my black screen like that. I'm going to paint my screen in the other room. I'm going to paint that whole wall while the projector's on. Anywhere that paint hits, that screen comes to life. And you're doing that OLED demonstration in the dark. So much light I have in this environment. Come on, y'all. That's what I'm saying. Y'all don't do your demonstrations correctly. That's my NP 1150. That's my 720p NEP. It's an NEC projector. Now, Danny, do you see in the demonstration where you had that bar light right in the corner? You see how dark your environment was? This is what your environment is supposed to look like when you display a screen. You're supposed to be in a fully lit environment, which means that should be to see every crack, every corner, everything. I can even see the modem box right there. I couldn't see anything in your environment. I literally couldn't even see the floor correctly. Everything in your environment is too dark. Yeah, faking your demonstrations. Oh, man. My goodness. What else we got here? Yeah, this is us again. Why y'all environments are always so dark? Always so dark. And you want to get up there and start talking about, oh, it's a well-lit environment. No, it's not. That window light is a joke. That lamp in the corner is a joke. And the overhead lighting is a joke. There's our Black Technology versus, what we got on here? We got several different versions of screen paints on here we're doing. There's no freaking challenge whatsoever. I got it. Some advice for you. Keep your website locked. Don't even ever open it ever. Don't ever open it, because we get your product down here. We get it down here. If we can get it down here, it's not going to do well. If that's the environments that your screens have to maintain in order to pull an image, you are not going to do well down here at all, period. That black paint is trash. That's absolutely trash. It can't see any white levels. I'm all the way down here and I still can't find anything. Oh, this is a customer whose screen that washed out at 200 inches on Crow's product. That was just downright pitiful. Not for the customer. I feel sorry for him. It's pitiful that he sold him a product that he probably claimed to be ambient light rejection. If he didn't claim it to be ambient light rejection, the customer would have never attempted to open up the windows to begin with. That's what gets me. On the website, he clearly states that this product is not ambient light rejection, but yet the customer tried to open up his windows as if it was ambient light rejection. What did you tell the customer? Customers are only going to do what you tell them to do. Or, of course, they're going to do other things than that. But if you warn them and say, hey, look, this is not going to work, such and such and so, then they're going to do it. Right there from the door, you must have told him that you can use that screen in a fully lit environment. I guarantee you lied to him. That screen didn't even pull up. That screen clearly washed out with no problem. Still can't find any customers. There's nobody that has your product. Can't find it. Went through all of this. Can't find it. This is us right here. We try to order your product and keep canceling the orders. Partey, I'm going to show you something. Remember you said sorry, okay, call you Partey. Danny, remember you said you never said anything about ever putting body gel or anything? Body gel is an oil-like substance. That's what it is. Let me show you right here. This right here is your YouTube channel, right? That's you right there, right? This is your channel right here, right? Let me show you something. Look at the description of the free paint he was giving out. He messed a lot of screens up with this nonsense. Look what it says in the description. 2 cups, right there. Look what it says right here. Body gel. This is the free screen paint, the one we tested, the one I showed you on our video. We did the test. We put the body gel in it and how it came out oily and greasy. Yeah, there it is right there. This is on his own site right there. Told you. And he sat there and said in the video, he never ever said anything ever about how his products have any form of body gel or oil in them. And we have it right here on the site. Let's go watch the demonstration video. I can understand how you guys get so angry. I mean, these are your videos at the end of the day. Jamie, you did a video, you get matching house paint, and you get mad at me and curse me out. Is that not you in the video? And what are you upset about? Danny, can't use that name, it's not his name. Danny, at the end of the day, clearly, there's body gel in your paint. Right here, here's your video right here. In the instructions, it says body gel. And then I'm going to show you why he explains why you have to put it in there.
Guys, so I'm going to go ahead and get started into our paint mix demonstration for black paint mix. Now, I want to preface this real quick. I had some folks who reached out to me and said, you know, I just bought one of your screens and now I see you're giving away your...
What screen? We can't find any of your customers. We literally search for your customers. We can't find one, not one. So I would love to see these customers. Post them, please. Matter of fact, post them to your website today.
Mixture for free. Okay, let me clarify very quickly. This is not what Parte uses. As a matter of fact, we haven't used pretty much anything that's on this table for almost a year and a half. Most of what we moved into.
Now, I'm going to tell you why that's a lie, because again, when he was painting his screen, if you notice, it wasn't taken to the surface that well. It was just smearing around the screen. That's oil. That's the same reaction we had when we made the exact same ingredients here. It was smearing all over the screen. It was a mess.
Who had been different grades of polymers, and then we moved on to you know, still polymer grades, but more towards a PVC sort of feel of plastic. Now, I'm going to explain the difference and why we moved away from these products as I go through. First, let me introduce you to the product. So I just want to squelch, you know, any concerns out there that this is not the same. It is not going to compare to your gobbledygook screens, to your gobbledygook formulas.
What the heck is gobbledygook? My goodness, it sounds like something out of a Nickelodeon commercial. Where do these people come up with these ideas? Let's go move to this. Which one come? I can't. This guy talks so much trash on camera, like literally nothing he says make any sense. The goopity gobbity gobbity goo. All right, let me see what we got going on here. All right, here we go.
In between, the silver is really good in that it does a dusting. Okay, the reason it doesn't work for us is because it's pigmented silver, and we didn't want pigment in our reflective solids, so we had to move away from this, and I'll show you why that's important in just a few.
He doesn't have any form of silver in its product, and I'll tell you why. Because when you basically, if you put silver or any kind of that metallic or whatever blend into a paint, the problem you're going to have, not problem, but if the paint's thick enough, it's going to mask it. You can't see it. But if you water down the base, it will show itself. You will see it. And when he was painting the screen, it never popped up, which means he doesn't have that in there to begin with at all, period. Keep in mind, his products are half water and half paint. Judging by what we saw in the demonstrations, how the screens are reacting when the projector hits it, it's nothing more than just black and white paint with a lot of water in it. That's what you're getting. That's why it takes multiple passes. All right, let me see what's on here.
That actually adds a level of diffusion to the surface so that it's a more balanced screen. All right, people that have started talking about these special coatings, okay, these special top coatings that they're using. And, you know, we do this special process before we did. Now, we've said before we do a special process, our special process is a diffusion process. And it's really more of a technique than an ingredient. It's the same stuff that we're using to make the screens, but there's a technique that we do that actually adds a level of diffusion to the surface so that it's a more balanced screen. All right, polyurethane, I want you to keep in mind, polyurethane was made for floor covering, well, not this one really, but it was made for covering hard, rigid surfaces like wood, hard plastics, different hobbies that people make, stuff like that, but it wasn't meant to be a pliable solution. In other words, a very flexible solution. It's not made for that. Okay, when this dries, it becomes rigid. Now, anybody who's ever used one of these, you notice when you get down to the bottom, there's always that white gook that's just kind of settled down there. Well, that's because it wasn't stirred up well within the actual mix itself. That goop down there is the particle that you hear me talk about. Now, there's also particles still mixed in there. That's why it's got that white color. But the particle that's in here helps give it a lip.
If you have passed it, if you have survived this moment without blowing your brains out, yeah, you passed the stress test. That's the dumbest stuff I've ever heard in my entire life. I mean, literally the dumbest thing I ever heard. This is why it doesn't go to forum sites with this mess, because they would have laughed at their heads off. Like, what the freak are you talking about? Gee whiz.
Little bit of pliability. Okay, so all that particle is just a filler. Okay, a filler, like a talc, not necessarily cornstarch baby powder, but it's a talc of a commercial grade that is put in here to be able to make it a little more pliable. Now, you heard me talk about there's so much particle in paint. That's why you're going to be limited, because even your gloss paints have a lot of talc in them. Okay, your matte paints and your chalk paints have talc plus. You know, we'll talk about that in another video, but they have other things that they add in to make it even chalkier. All right, and then you.
What the freak are you talking about? Literally, what are you talking about? Man, I swear, man, you make an excuse for every single thing you talk about. I'm sorry, this is just downright stupid. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard in my entire life. This is what's worse is when you had the bubbles popping up on your screen because the paint would mix with the bubbles. That's just oxygen releasing itself on the screen. No.
You have your paint, which is just a black satin
We
paint.
made this stuff, Mike. We made
It's
it.
got a lot of particle. All right. So we're going to pause right there, and then I'm going to get my stuff ready. We're going to start our mix here. All right, guys. So I'm going to start mixing in this cup here, and I'll talk to you briefly about, you know, our concentrations, but I'm going to put a quarter cup of polyurethane in here. Okay, try to make sure we get our full cup out. Okay, so there's our quarter cup. I'm going to clean this out. I'm going to make you wait while I clean it out.
And remember what he said.
All right,
Never
so we
mentioned
got a
anything about body
quarter
gel.
cup,
Whoa.
polyurethane.
Hold on a minute. We gotta, before we go down that road real quick, we gotta clarify. Maya, I tried to look that up too. I couldn't find nothing. You couldn't find anything. We gotta clarify this really quick. He said he never said anything about body gels, none of that stuff at all, period. So, I mean, this guy lies so much he doesn't realize that he lies on top of why he's lying. Applications right here. I don't even know what the purpose of this video is if you have this one right here.
I am here, as promised, of one product. You don't get 4 different containers. You don't get 4 48s, which is what he's told you out there, that you'll get 4 different containers. You'll do 1 coating from each container, and each one of those is a little bit different from the other one. That's a complete damn lie. It's 1 48-ounce container of whichever product you choose, and you're going to do 4 applications. We said that you would do 4 applications. Now, that's not a misconstruence, because it was never actually stated. It's just a lie. It's just a smear to try to scare people away.
You do know you have a video up here saying something completely different on what you said you're not saying here, right? I mean, everybody just saw that in the video. But what people are we scaring away? We can't find any customers. You don't have any people. Your website's not open. Who are you talking about? Who are you referring to? Every time we go on your site, it's closed. Your site's been closed for about for about a year it's been closed. So what people are you talking about?
From buying a Parte product by using things from a video that were never actually stated and making up his own little story to try to make it sound like it's going to be super complicated, and also that the whole thing was a lie. That's not the truth. So no 4 containers, no 4 colors. And as you can see,
This guy, man, lies. He just lies. Lies so much it's not even funny how much he lies. No 4 colors. Now you see how that paint smears around? You tell me when you've ever painted a wall and you watched it do this. It doesn't even take to the surface. It just smears around. That's oil. That's the same thing. Same problem we had when we made that ingredients. See how it's not taken to the surface? But just remember what he said. It doesn't come in any other colors, right? All right, so that's one coat right there, right? Now we'll come back in, paint that in. Let me see where we are right here. That's another color right there, right? There's another one right there, right? All right. Gotta stop lying so much. You lie too much. That's another color. That's 3. All right. There's another color. That's 4. That's 4 colors right there. All right.
The application, a little story to try to make it sound like it's going to be super complicated, and also that the whole thing was to scare people away from buying a Parte product by using things from a video that were never actually stated and making up his own little story to try to make it sound like it's going to be super complicated, and also that the whole thing was a lie. That's not the truth. So no 4 containers, no 4 colors. And as you can see,
What did we just see in the next video? 4 colors. All right.
the application, now I'm actually going back and forth on this first panel a lot more, but conversation about layers needing to fuse. Okay, so we'll come back to that in just a few. That it's nothing more than a house paint. Now, folks, he's also definitively told you that it contains Vaseline.
Body gel is Vaseline. That's what it is. Let's see.
We're now going to add about a tablespoon, okay, of the body gel.
Now you explain that. You just said a tablespoon of body gel. Body gel has oil in it. It's just like Vaseline. Same thing. You do know that, right, Danny? Vaseline, body gel, same thing. It's the same thing. May have a different texture to it, but it still has an oil in it. That's your video right there, isn't it? That's you on the video, is it not? Did you just say body gel? You have it right there in the description right there. And you just said in the video a few minutes ago, you never even made that statement, and it's right there in your video. You lie too much, man. That's all you do is lie. You know, it's bad enough that you're trying to launch a product that's so dark and so dirty, and you're lying on camera about that, about how it pulls what it pulls nothing. That product is garbage. You lie on the description of your products, you lie on your pictures, you lie on everything. You're somebody a huge, massive liar, so you just lie. And you just clearly just sat there and said that you never said anything about Vaseline. Guess what body gel is?
Get all of that. Okay, so there's our quarter cup. I'm going to clean this out. I won't make you wait. I'll clean it out. All right, so we've got our quarter cup polyurethane. We're now going to add about a tablespoon, okay, of the body gel. Get all of that out of here.
Now, we're supposed to be the fake and scammers at the end of the day, but yet you lie constantly in videos. I don't know which is worse or lesser evil. We got one basically is matching house paint and still sells that house paint product on his website, even though we know he's matched it in the video. And we got you constantly lying through demonstrations. This is why people at the end of the day, I tell you, they don't have any tests. They can't back their products up. Their products are fake and they're phonies at the end of the day. Look, gentlemen, we don't have to make memes over here. We don't have to do any of that stuff. You do so much dumb stuff at the end of the day. You trip over dumb stuff as you're doing dumb stuff. These are your own words we can use right against you. You clearly just sat there and lied in that video and said that your product didn't come in 4 different colors. It's in 4 different colors. And if it's in 4 different colors, it's got to come in 4 different containers. You're not mixing them all in one big container, so it has to come in 448s, because that's the only thing you have is 448s. You just sat there and said you never said anything about Vaseline. Guess what? Vaseline, body gel, oils, all the same thing. Guess what? You just doing the ingredients, you're putting it right there in your paint. You don't put that in there. And you're going to say this is not your product. Guess what? This product had the same reaction when we made it as it does in your video when you're smearing that stuff all over your screen. If you put any kind of oil substance into a product, it's not going to marry well to the surface. That's why it's smearing all over the place. And your excuse is, oh, you don't want to paint the screen, you just want to saturate it and get it wet. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard in my entire life. Can you imagine you get a job as a painter and they go, oh no, don't worry about painting the wall, just get it wet. So I want to paint this entire room just to get it wet, and then what I'm going to do, then you're going to paint it. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard in my entire life. Wouldn't you have gotten all that done the first time you've done it? That's just making excuses. So the people who made this stuff complained to them about the screen hot spotting. You know why? Because there's Vaseline, there's oil in it, there's a gel in it. That's why it hot spotted like crazy.
Here, I'm going to pause and get us a stir stick. All right, so hopefully you can see in there, there's the body gel that's just kind of floating in there. So we're just going to stir this up. Now you want to stir this up very well because it's going to look clumpy, almost sort of like curdled milk when you first start. But as
Because it's not supposed to be in there.
you continue to
Messy.
stir and stir along your sides and your bottom. Make sure you get your bottom real good because this stuff will want to settle on any surface that it can find to stick to.
You know what it reminds me of? You ever watch those pointless videos that come on freaking Facebook where people just do the dumbest things you ever seen in their entire life? And they tell you, wait, watch, it's going to be amazing. You can't wait, it's going to happen. Like, I'm going to take this bottle right here, and I'm going to take this remote control, and I'm going to put this in here, We're going to put this in here. You ever watch those demonstrations? Just pointless amount of your time wasted watching those There you go. Just landed on my keyboard, nothing happened. Cool. Yeah, that's what that is. Wreck your screen with this mess. Hope anybody didn't paint a motorized with this before it works.
Real quick, I'm going to show you. This is what that new substance looks like. Okay? So it is more of a pudding type consistency.
So the time it's taking him to stir this is because he's having a problem because it's not mixing well. It's not supposed to be in there. It's like trying to mix oil and water. That's the problem he's having.
All right? I was about to say pudding pop. It's about the consistency of pudding. All right? So, we've got that. All right, it took a couple of seconds to clean out my tablespoon here. Be careful with this mica. So next we're going to put about a half a tablespoon of mica. You want to be careful.
What's dangerous about mica, and I'll tell you what's dangerous about mica. Mica basically can coat your lungs. That stuff is so super fine that if that stuff spills or anything happens, you can get a fine layer of it anywhere. If you got kids or dogs, they're going to find it first before you do. Which means you should not be doing it. You should be doing it clearly outside or in an area down in the basement, someplace where you have a much more controlled environment. You definitely shouldn't be using that stuff in the kitchen. If you have respiratory issues or anything like that, when I was using that stuff, I had to put a mask on and I took it outside. Couldn't take it outside, it was too windy, so I took it inside, I put it in a corner of the basement, and that's where I did the demonstration under a huge blanket so I can wrap everything up and throw it in the trash. That stuff will mess you up. That stuff you do not want to touch. So, bottom line is, if that stuff blows off, and it's very fine. It's easy for it to go airborne. If it goes airborne, lands anywhere, and your kids go, touch it, or your dog sniff it up, you're going to have some problems at the end of the day. Shouldn't even be using this stuff to begin with. It was not meant for this at all, period. But, yeah, again, people do dumb stuff, and this is what he's doing.
You don't have to use as much of this as most people think. A little bit goes a long way. So about a half a tablespoon. Now, be very careful. Don't throw this around. because this stuff will float in the air and you'll be breathing it in the whole
Told
time
you.
you're working with it. You don't want to do that.
Stuff will kill
And I
you.
want to show you real quick the best way to
You never used an inhaler before. Use that stuff? Yeah, you'll find out.
approach this is not to just start stirring, it's to actually start folding the formula over the top of the powder till you start seeing the powder really get mixed in, and then you can start stirring and it won't blow it all out into the air. But you want to be very careful with that because it will, man. This stuff will go everywhere. And you'll see it, against the daylight. It'll just be floating in the air, and that's not something you want in your lungs.
You'll be breathing that stuff in. That stuff can stay airborne for quite some time. So that's why when I did mine, I had this huge, massive sheet, had it in the middle right here, had my mask on the entire time, and basically after I got done making it, I wrapped everything up and threw everything in the trash. You spill that stuff, it goes up in the air, it takes a while to come down. You'll breathe it in definitely, but in the day, your kids, dog, whatever, will breathe that stuff in. That stuff is very toxic. Shouldn't be using it at all, period.
All right, so we've got it now where we can start stirring. Now I want you to look at how silver this stuff starts to take on, just from a half a tablespoon. That's why we can't use the pigment stuff. But, I'm not trying to be negative here. I'm saying I want to differentiate between why we moved away from paint mixes and the different components that you would use with that. I apologize, guys. I'm having to record this in chunks. I'm running out of space a month.
Now remember, he says they moved away from that. They have a different form of product. I'm just going to make this clear so people can see that his product is just water and paint. That's all it is. You're not really getting anything special. It's just basically black and white paint mixed with a lot of water. So in the container, he says he puts a distilled water into it. The distilled water acts as a delivery system to keep the product from drying out. That's what he says.
I am here, as promised, to cover the lies, and I say that specifically.
Now, you see the container here? You see where the water is right there? You see that solid area right there? That's the paint. You see all this right here? That's all water. So literally, you're only if he ever opens up his website and tries to sell this stuff, this is how much you're paying for $160. This is water. That's a lot of water and paint. This is why it takes him so long to stir it up, because he has to get all that water to blend in. So pretty much what you're getting is a watered down paint. Guarantee at the end of the day, this is nothing more than black and white paint. He can't put that mica into it, because what's going to happen is there's nothing here to break down the mica. It's basically you're going to see these glitter, little glitter speckles all over the surface, because again, he's weakened the product on the paint. He's weakened the base by putting in that much water. But that's all water in there.
Specifically, the lies that Crystal Edge.
See that? That's nothing but water. So you pretty much paid for probably half of 48. Half of 48 you paid for if he does ever open the site at $160. The rest of it is just water. So there's nothing special about this. He's claiming it has they engineered it differently and all that. Nah, I guarantee you it's just black and white paint with a lot of water. They put the water inside of it to give it a thin light coating to say it's not a paint. At the end of the day, it's something else, but it's basically paint.
Phone here, so should have done a cleaning before I tried. So I'll try to make this last part quick. So there's our mixture with the mica. You want to stir it up very well. I would actually even recommend that you let it sit for maybe 15 minutes to about a half an hour with the mica in there. Just keep stirring.
Gee whiz. Now, mind you, when you make this stuff, you're going to have to let it set to a half an hour. A half an hour of letting this stuff sit around. Oh my goodness. I don't know, it's worse. That or a 7-day spring drying period.
Stirring it every once in a while. The mica's a lot like the talc. It'll actually absorb some of the liquid that's in here. And it's if you've ever made grits or oatmeal, you know that a lot of times you get those little pockets of dry stuff, right, that don't necessarily get mixed in. So
that's why they call it a mixer. There's a mixers are for. And there's no way in the world, in this little tiny cup, you're having that issue. There's no way in the world. Now, if you're doing like maybe like a couple of gallons, yeah, you're going to have to require a mixer for that to make sure it's thoroughly stirred up, whatever you're mixing in there. But for this little tiny cup, are you kidding me? Come on.
You want to make sure that you give it time to mix in, make sure that you run it along your edges and your bottom and get all of your little, modules or nodules of dry stuff kind of busted up and mix.
AKA bottom line, it's not mixing too well in the cup. That's what's going on. Many times you just watch them stir that, it's not mixing too well. That oil that's in there is causing separation.
Extend. So now we're going to add, careful here, I have paint here. Now we're going to add in the same amount of poly, so it's 1:1 on the black paint. So we're going to add in the same amount, okay? Right? And then, we're just going to start mixing that together. Okay, so I'm running out of time on my phone, so it may stop before I finish this. But I'll show you, go back and remove these. But you can start to see, now it's not pure black. And the reason it's not pure black is because you've got so much silver pigment in there that it's never going to be able to hold a solid black.
Then how to, wait. You just said in the demonstration how to make a black screen paint, but you're telling people it's not pure black. That doesn't make any sense. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard. Gee whiz, come on. You guys do some dumb stuff. Do it yourself, black screen paint. So if that's the case, then it's not black. Then what is it? You can't title it black and then you sit there and say, well, it's not going to be black. It's going to be like a dark gray. That's not black. So how are you giving out free black paint if it's not even black? That's the dumbest thing I ever heard. Gee, they listen to themselves when they talk.
Before I finish this, but I'll show you, go back and remove these. But you can start to see, now it's not pure black. And the reason it's not pure black is because you've got so much silver pigment in there that it's never going to be able to hold a solid black amount of pigment.
Then you're not going to pick up 100% contrast level. It's not going to work. You're going to have the darkest gunmetal screen. If it's not 100% black, it can't see black. You have to be a 100% black to pick up black.
Like that. But it does darken as it dries, and you'll be able to see whenever I roll it. So we're going to let that set, sort of soak in, and then we're going to allow some of the stuff. All right, so I was able to clean a little space off my phone and get the rest of this, plus that gave this time for it to get, what you want is for it to have basically a very creamy, silky kind of consistency, okay? So there we are. We've got our mixture. We can put all this stuff up. Now, a couple of things I want to make known. Why did we add this in there? For suspension. Okay, so going back to the earlier.
Oh God, you got to listen to this one. This is why he put Vaseline or body gel into the paint. Listen to this.
Statement is for suspension, but it's also to do another thing. Polyurethane, like I said, was meant for more rigid surfaces. It's not meant to be pliable. And it'll continue to cure over time. So it'll cure, but it'll also over time, it'll start to dry out. It can become somewhat brittle. So if you don't have something to cut that, then you're really going to run the risk. You may still even run the risk. That's the reason we moved away from polyurethane according to the environment that you live in. If you live in a dry, arid area, maybe it wouldn't do so much. It'll dry out faster, but
This is where you're a complete idiot. Do you see that container of paint right there? In order for that container of paint to get a seal of approval, it has to go through something called a flagstone. So a flagstone is where they stick a product through to test it under heat conditions, cold conditions, all kinds of stuff you could possibly think of. So they can put that guarantee on the side of the container that this stuff is going to work. Keep in mind, people use poly for all kinds of stuff. They use it for all different ways of basically protecting the coating of something. It could be paintings, it could be artwork, it could be anything. That's what they use it for. This stuff is designed to put a protective coating to protect it through all kinds of elements of rain, snow, and all that other good stuff at the end of the day. So what he's saying that is the Vaseline that he puts in there pretty much builds the infrastructure to give it the ability that without the ability of basically becoming brittle and rigid and basically deteriorating. you're an idiot at the end of the day. If that product had that issue to begin with, they'd be sued. You know how many people would file lawsuits? How many people would take the time to basically build amazing projects to use that to code it, to protect it? And if that stuff fails, that means their artwork or whatever their project built would actually get damaged in the process. It would never pass a flash zone. It'd be perfect. Oh my goodness. People don't even think. This is what happens when you don't test stuff at the end of the day. All chemicals have to go through flash zones. They have to go through these safety material data sheets. All that's done through flash zones. Gee whiz, where the freak is he getting this stuff from?
You know, it's not going to go through, say, harsh cold maybe, where, you know, in colder states, when this gets below or into the 40-degree range, so if you have it outside or in a garage or something like that, it can very easily start to crack. Now, people say, well, once I put it on my wall, I won't be messing with it. Well, no, until you go to clean.
Paint doesn't crack. Paint turns into a gel. That's what happens. So it turns into a gel. If it's in a liquid state, such like that, it would turn to a gel. If it's already applied to a surface and it's already dry, that's not going to happen. Your screen or whatever you're working on is not going to turn to gel. Wouldn't you think that people who live in Alaska or in colder states do have decks? They do have woodwork or whatever they may have. This stuff is tested. They have to freeze this up to a certain degree to see exactly if it can take the punishment. That's what the testing are for, to see if the screen can take the testing. They put it through extreme heat, they put it through extreme cold, they submerge this stuff in water, they do everything you could possibly think to it, and the worst condition scenario, so they can make sure this product works 100% before they launch it off the shelves. But yeah, if you have paint, basically, in a really cold area, even gasoline can turn to gel if it's in a cold enough area. But when you're driving and it's in motion, no, it's not going to turn to gel. Gee whiz, this is stupid.
It, you know, so at any point that you put pressure on it, you won't necessarily notice it right at that moment. It won't just like crack and break because it's still glued on there, right? This is essentially a form of coating that's like a glue, right? So what happens is that over time, wherever you put pressure on it, it will start to get these little orbital fractures or either linear fractures, like anywhere where it's a tensioned area. So polyurethane, not the best for screen coatings, but for this purpose, and you're looking to do something down and dirty that's going to be effective for what you need it for. And I promise you guys, this is going to be as effective, if not more so. And
Partey, you haven't been around that long. You don't know jack about jack. People used to use poly back in the day, basically for coating outdoor projection screens as a form of protective covering. That's what they would use it for. They get a white screen and they would blast it with poly. We use poly outside when we're using fixed frame screens. A fixed frame screen is going to rust. It's going to have issues. One of the things we have problems with fixed frame screens is the velvet frame can bleed into the screen. Literally, the water hits it, this thing will bleed into your screen. So what we do is we basically take the frame apart before we put the screen outside, and we poly the frame. So that way, when it rains, it protects the protects the velvet border, and the velvet border doesn't bleed into the screen. The last thing we want to do is wake up and you got these streaks going all across your screen in black because the velvet bled into your screen. And that's what I tell people. Now, a few people have actually had that problem. I said, what you want to do is I have videos showing us doing it. You take apart the frame and you basically spray that with poly, and that will keep that from bleeding into your frame. Gee whiz, you know nothing.
I actually believe, I don't want to go out there and make these claims, but I believe it will be much more effective than the black paint mixes that you're seeing out there on the market. These guys, for one, you got to think about, I could not sell a coating for $50 or $60 or $70. I would make no money. The amount of material, the raw materials alone would eat up most of that per coating, okay, for a cord. So you buy cheap, you get cheap. That's all I'm telling you. And with this stuff, this is a way for you to do it in a cheap manner, but also be able to adjust the components as you wish. Now, let me get into that.
Now, again, you just said you buy cheap, you get cheap. All right? So let me get this straight. Our technology over here is under $500, and I can be $5,000 projection screens. I can do stuff that you guys can't even begin to even do. And on top of that, our products are all tested. So, but anyway, My goodness, this guy is such a freaking headache at the end of the day. He doesn't know anything what he's talking about. The product you have here hasn't been tested. I'm going to make this stuff again. We're going to put it through testing. It's going to fail every single one of them. One of the problems you're going to have here is that I make black products. I already know from the door that this is a mess. This is an absolute mess. This can't generate any form of white light. It won't even have the capabilities. That's why the product he has now, that he says he doesn't use this stuff at all, but he has something completely different. That's why in the thumbnail, if you look at his screen, it comes up that dark. He doesn't know what he's doing. It's like watching your 5-year-old in the kitchen trying to make a pie. That's what it looks like. Just mess all over the place and a bunch of excuses. This is a mess.
Before we start rolling this, if you want a full viewing angle, my recommendation, when I say full viewing angle all the way around, you're going to need this coating to be drier, which means that you're going to want to use a very matte or a black chalk paint if you can. Plus, you want to use a matte poly. The reason
Full viewing area, which means you see how the corners, when you chose the demonstrations, how they become dark around the corners, that's what he's talking about. AKA, that has nothing to do with chalk. It has nothing to do with that. That means your screen can't receive and understand white light. That's the problem that you're having. That's why it's coming up dark. And when you do those demonstrations trying to show your screen can receive white light, you must do this at 1,000 lumens because you must show that you don't have to use a 5,000 lumen projector to get to generate white light. You got to do this outside too to show that you can do this inside and outside, because outside is going to have 10,000 more ambient light than inside. There's so many tests you're going to have to do. You got to do the white level test. Again, extremely important because you have to do it on the color patterns, lights on, lights off, ultra short throw, long throw. All that stuff has to be done. Sounds like a lot of work, doesn't it? Guess what? That's what you have to do. This is bull crap at the end of the day. This stuff won't even work for Jack. Now, if he's telling us at the end of the day that he doesn't use this and his product is supposed to be better, you just seen his product? You see how dark that stuff comes up? Yeah. Yeah. Gee whiz. It's like watching somebody walk through a freaking landmine with magnetic boots. You know, sooner or later, they're going to hit one and it's going to go boom. Let's finish this thing off because I got things to do.
for that is because even a matte poly isn't completely matte. It's just matte for a poly, right? But you want that to be as dry as possible so that whenever it dries, you get that sub-gain sort of texture. And when I say sort of, you want it to be as absorbent as possible because that's the only way that you're going to get the same view from the side that you're going to get to the front. That's things that guys out there won't tell you. I'm educating you now. Because once you make something glossier, okay, and a higher gain, and you got to be careful because if you use a high gloss in this stuff, then it's going to be a very unbalanced screen. It's going to spot. So you want to try to find that balanced middle ground with your, with your mix. So if you start adjusting it and you get it a little too glossy, you can always go back to our talc and add in. What I would recommend is just add in like a tablespoon at a time till you get.
You know what happens if you add that powder in there? It's a starch. You know what it does? It stiffens the paint. That's what it does. Artists usually put a little baby powder into their paint, maybe a little starch to stiffen it a little bit, especially if they're doing a little paint sculpting or they want the product to be a little more stiffer, or maybe it's a little too thin, they want to add a little starch to it to thicken up a bit. That's what that's used for. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Get it to the consistency you're looking for. So that way you haven't completely botched your mix if you make a full mix. I would recommend that you make smaller mixes like this to begin with so that you can test it on a panel, see what it looks like, see if you like it, do you want to make adjustments, and then you can adjust along the way. And these are the two primary things you would adjust, right? Either going matter or a little glossier, maybe. I wouldn't recommend anything above a satin, but if you want to try some of the glossier stuff, knock yourself out. Same thing with the paint, right? But those would be the two components. These two, you can adjust a little bit. I wouldn't do too much more with this because you
can never put gloss, any oil base, anything like that if you're making a screen paint. Because this is a product that's automatically going to suffer from hot spotting from the door. And one of the problems it's going to have is ultra short throw. Definitely going to hot spot on an ultra short throw because again, it's 3,000 lumens sitting right up on top of the screen.
You're just going to waste it. And it's also going to impede the ability of the light to sink in just a little bit and give you a little more return for gain. So, because keep in mind, this is a physical blockade. Even though it's reflective, it's still a physical blockade to light. So that's one thing that you need to think about. So you can play with the mixture as you wish. Now I've just learned how to use it so much, and I got such a better sheen and finish. So here's what you want to do. You want to run your hand under some cool water, right? And then take your hand and just kind of squeeze the water into this a little bit. Then just kind of shake it, right, at the seam, so that you don't have a lot of extra water. You want to make sure you don't have any water that when you squeeze a little bit like that's just dripping out, because that's going to be, if you use a nap roller, a lot of times what it wants to do is it wants to spread those around in a very uneven manner. One of the reasons that I use a foam roller is for that purpose in the beginning. Now I've just learned how to use it so much, and I get such a better sheen and finish. So here's what you want to do. You want to run your hand under some cool water, right? And then take your hand and just kind of squeeze the water into this a little bit.
Why in the world would you want water in your roller? Water and paint doesn't even mix. Well, okay, here we go again. You don't want your rollers wet. And again, this is going to mark your screen up. This is why when you looked at his screen outside, it was marked up. It's a good way to streak and tear your screen up. Nap rollers are the best way to go. Foam rollers, no, I would not even advise using foam rollers. You would damage the daylight out of your screen. Gee whiz. And he puts water in it? No. Why would you put water in it? This is stupid.
You just kind of shake it, right, at the seam, so that you don't have a lot of extra water. You want to make sure you don't have any water that when you squeeze a little bit like that's just dripping out, because that's going to be problematic. And then what you're going to do.
Fast way to do it, people. Get a towel. Put your rollers in a towel and just basically just move them back and forth. That's it. It'll take all the water out. That's it. Done.
Just pour you a little bit on here. And we'll keep that over to the side for right now, so you guys can see this. All right, and I'm just going to move that around just to get us a space here. And you'll notice it's very thick, right?
That's not even black. That's dark gray.
That's fine, because you're going to roll it out. So, and you'll see that there's sort of a thick texture in there. That's okay. We're going to get rid of that. Now, you can expect you're going to use about 3 coats, okay, to get it the way that you want it, to get a good even finish. And use, at this point, apply a little pressure just to get this stuff sort of moved out.
3 coats. Every time he pulls that roller back, you're going to see some of that white surface pull through. That's the oil in it that's giving it the problem.
And don't worry about it looking perfect, because it's not going to on this first one. It's just
It's
not.
never perfect. It's always going to
That's
look
not
perfect.
how this stuff works.
First, roll it on.
So what you're doing now is just putting down a base, and you want to roll that out, and you see how thin I'm rolling it to? Okay, so you want to get it so that it's.
So you just watched him roll this small little area. He had to pass over multiple times in one area. This should have been done. He should have went dip, 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 done. That's it. The fact he's rolling back over and over again is because he's pushing through. That's why. He's having a hard time for it to marry to the surface.
It's good and thin like that.
How many times are you going to pass over that one section?
It's like I picked up a little something in the roller right there. So we're just going to roll over that. You notice I'm doing a thatch routine. I'm going one way, then going back and going the other way. And as I roll it, I'm lightening up.
I got to count this one. How many times did he pass over that screen?
It's a little bit like that's just dripping out, because that's going to be problematic. And then what you're going to do, just pour you a little bit on here. And we'll keep that over to the side for right now, so you guys can see this. All right, and I'm just going to move that around just to get us a space here. And you'll notice it's very thick, right? And that's fine, because you're going to roll it out. So, and you'll see that there's sort of a thick texture in there. That's okay. We're going to get rid of that. Now, you can expect you're going to use about 3 coats.
Now, the problem we have here is the fact that if it's 3 coats, but how many passovers are you going to be doing for every 3 coats that you're going to put in there? On top of that, you stated that's supposed to be a black paint. That's not black. That's dark gray. That doesn't even add up. My goodness. I don't know what's worse, the fact you said it didn't come with Vaseline and does have Vaseline in it. Yeah, this is going to hotspot like crazy because it has oil in it. That's why.
Can see this. All right, and then I'm just going to move that.
I want to
around.
count how many times he's passing over the screen. I can't count this because he's actually painting in the screen.
Right, and that's fine.
How many times do you have to
Because you're
pass
gonna
over
roll
this?
it out.
You shouldn't have to pass over a screen that many times.
So, and you'll see that there's sort of a thick texture in there. That's okay, we're gonna get rid of that. Now, you can expect
Alright,
you're
this
gonna
is about
use
one,
about
2,
3 coats.
3,
Okay, to get it the way that
4,
you want it, to get a good even
5,
finish.
6,
And you use, at this point,
7,
apply a little pressure just to
8,
get this stuff sort of moved out.
9,
And
10,
don't worry about it looking
11,
perfect because it's not going to on this
12,
first one. It's just not.
13, 14,
That's not how this stuff works. So
15,
what you're doing now is
16,
just putting down a base and you want to roll that out. You see how thin I'm rolling it to?
18,
Okay, so you want to get
19,
it so that it's good and thin like that.
20, 21, 22, 23, 24,
So I got to pick that up
25,
something, you know, roll it right.
25, we're at 25, 26,
So we're
27,
just gonna
28,
roll over
29,
that. You notice I'm
30,
doing a thatch
31,
routine. I'm going
32,
one way, then going back,
33,
and going the other way.
34,
And as I roll it, I'm lightening
35,
up on my roll.
36,
Okay, so as I've got this spaced out and I see that it's starting to actually
37,
lay down,
38,
now I'm just gonna roll it out.
39,
I'm not even putting any pressure on the
40, you
roller,
got it, I'm
I'm just
done.
kind of rolling over
over 40 passes.
my lines.
You're not supposed to do 40 passes.
gonna
It's
let
supposed to be
that
yeah,
dry,
40 passes.
completely.
So imagine he just did this one little section right here. He didn't do the whole entire screen, which means it has really poor coverage for number one. Because he had to pass over that many times, you're going to have to use a lot more paint to cover this to begin with. For each one of these applications, you're going to do at least about 20 to 30 passes.
I would let it completely dry and then go back and do another coating.
So you're not even done yet. You still have to come back and do 3 other coatings on top of this one.
Okay, I didn't rinse out my brush. We're gonna go ahead and do a second coat on this real quick. Just trying not to make any more of a mess than we have to. All right. So in the second coat, you're gonna start to notice that it becomes a lot more balanced as far as, you know, your finish. Your finish is starting to become, you know, very balanced across. In other words, you're not got little light spaces here and darker spaces there. You really start to see the second coat sort of kick in, and you don't have to do as much to get it sort of spread out. I'm putting just a very little bit of light pressure, and then I'm going to do a final roll in here where it's just basically the weight of the
Gee, Louise. Too many passes? You got to go back over the surface?
second here.
Good grief. Come on, man.
You know, you want to make sure that you don't get it too thick, because if you do, you're going to leave a lot of texture in your finish, and you really don't want that. So you know, just put enough to get it in the area, and then you don't want to roll it too dry either, because then you're just taking your reflective solids. And just
All
moving
right,
them
so the
around.
problem we have here, people, is that not only are you going to do 3 applications, but you're going to at least to be about 20, at least 20 or 40 or more passes over the surface. Mind you, when you're doing a 100-inch, that's 4 feet by 7 feet. That's a lot of freaking work. Now, if you're doing 4 applications, at least you can do 1, 2, 3, 4, done. He's doing multiple passes over the screen. That's not a good sign.
Around, which you don't want to do.
You're still doing passes
Just
over it.
keep it so as it starts to look like it's starting to set in,
Don't
and
touch that
give
screen
you,
again.
so you can see very sort of even, smooth finish on that, right, against the light. So as that happens, and it'll settle as it dries, and then we'd put a third coat on. So I'm not going to video all 3 coats. I'm just going to do a third coat on it, and then we'll see what it looks like with the projector. Okay, guys, there's our full.
You didn't video it. How we know you put it on there? If you didn't video, gee whiz, you're skipping steps in your demonstration. This is a headache. Number one, the screen's not black. It's not black. The first thing we noticed when we first coated it out, it wasn't black. It wasn't matching any of the black coatings that we had when we made this stuff. one of the big issues is basically that how many passes you had to literally go over that surface once you applied it. So it's actually, when technically if you were to think about it, it's 3 applications plus an additional 20 to 30 passes that you have to go over the screen to get it to even out. And then he painted this one little small area. I guarantee he puts the screen in this small little area right here so you can compress the image. But anyway, that screen's not black. So, okay, let's see what we got going on. Where's the projector sitting at? This light has nothing to do with the screen. What the freak are you? Gee whiz Louise, man. Look, your screen is sitting on a floor. That light's not going to make any contact with that screen. You're sitting literally on the floor, so that has nothing to do with it. You put that up a little higher or near that window, and yeah, you're going to have contact. You're not going to hit that screen. The screen's sitting on the floor, so that's not going to work.
Between a satin and semi-gloss sheen as opposed to a true gloss sheen. Now, I'm going to pull back so you can see there is some light.
See how dark the environment got that quick, that fast? Yeah, there you go. You had all this light right here to begin with, right there. Then all of a sudden the environment went dark. There's any of the demonstrations with the lights on, anything. Any white levels displays? Nothing. Gee whiz.
Than anything you're going to see out there on the Luminous 4K channel or some of those other places, I promise you. And then you can tweak it. That's the beauty of this. You're going to be less than $50 in for the materials, okay? And you can tweak it as you want to. It'll make up to 2 quarts, because I would say buy quart. Now you can buy gallons, but buy quart of the poly. Guys, there's a result of our black paint mix. That's on a.
That is really dirty. That's extremely dirty. One of the problems we have here, the product, yes, it's kind of dirty. Number 2, it's not black. You clearly state it's not black. It comes up gray, so you can't put that in the safe bin. Sorry, if my product's black, it's black. I can't say it's gunmetal and try to say the gunmetal's black. It's not black. It's a dark gray. So that right there is automatically a fail. You have a gray paint here, not a black paint. Other problem you have here on top of that, like I said, you don't have it in the dark. You have it on this little tiny surface right here. You should have painted a very large surface. Should have had it in a fully lit environment. Should have your projector pull back. That's how you should have did the demonstration.
A piece of white gloss, more of a, say, somewhere between a satin and semi-gloss sheen as opposed to a true gloss sheen. Now, I'm going to pull back so you can see there is some light coming in the doorway.
There's no light coming in the doorway. And how come you don't have the lights on in this environment? Because this room does have lights in it. So how come the lights are not on? We specialize in ambient light projection black technology. This wouldn't even be anywhere near what we do at the end of the day. What the heck is this? Why is half the screen missing?
Okay. You know, so the white on this side isn't going to be able to hold up as well, but you can see here.
It's got a window open. The screen washed out that bad. That's horrible. You know why? That body gel's in there. That oil's in there. That's why. But look how badly that washed out. Gee whiz, where the frick is the rest of your screen? Buddy, you don't have our tech. Why do you guys try doing this dumb stuff at the end of the day? You embarrass yourselves at the end of the day. Sat there and lied on camera, said your stuff didn't come in the gel, doesn't come in multiple colors. Your black screen paint is horrible, it doesn't pull probably any white levels. The screen streaked up really bad, looks horrible, can't keep your website open. It's a mess. It's an absolute circus. That's what it is. And what are we looking at here? Your screen is just washed out. This is part of your screen right here. Where's the other half of it?
A piece of white gloss, more of a, say, somewhere between a satin and semi-gloss sheen as opposed to a true gloss sheen. Now, I'm going to pull back so you can see there is some light coming in the doorway. You know, so the white on this side isn't going to be able to hold up as well, but you can see here. that it will.
So what is this right here? This is completely a screen. This part of your screen's missing. And there's a light right here. That's an open window. That's extremely bad. I mean, nothing. These should have faded. It should look more like this. There's nothing there.
So I'm going to pause it right there real quick. There we go. Made a couple of different mixtures. This one's a little brighter. This was made using gloss black paint with the satin poly. When you start getting above that, then you can start running into problems with unbalanced, and it's going to hot.
Your screens are super ultra jet black. What are you talking about? My product can actually beat black paint at the end of the day. That's absolutely horrible. Look at that. You try to make it darker. See, we try to make it darker. Now this right here, as he told you, this is gray. That's definitely gray, because when you put that silver in it, it turned it gray. This right here is where he tried to make it darker. Look at the reaction. You can't make black paint. That's the problem. You can't do it. He doesn't understand the transition of white light. This is going to pick up a little bit higher because this is basically gray. It's not actually black. This one actually is black. And look at the problem that it's picking up. He doesn't know what he's doing. If you had to do a black versus black test, you would have a lot of problems. I bet you this stuff would match house paint easily.
That's fine, but that give you some ideas there to get it brighter. The interesting one is this one. Now, here's where I want to prove something out to you that we've discussed for quite some time. Now, you can go lighter on the screen color and get it to give you a full 160-degree viewing angle, you know, in so long as it's not super gain. In other words, once you get with a darker color and you start getting up around 1 to 1.1, 1.2 gain.
What the frig are you talking about? You just call a high gain a 1 to 1? 1.1. You think a 1.1 is a high gain. 1.1 is found on white screens. 1.1, 0.0. White screens sometimes will brag about a 2.0 on a screen. That's considered to be extremely high on a white screen. A 1.1? Come on, man. You don't know jack about jack. There are no gunmetal screens that even possess 1.1s. Of all the certified screens I've had in my possession, I can tell you right off the hand, I would know this better than I know you guys would know because I test these screens. You don't find a 1.1 in a gunmetal technology, in 0.8, 0.9. Yeah, you'll find those. Even when you have the what do you call that, cinema grade 5D, when you have those, they're a 0.5. You'll find those 0.6, 0.7. You're never going to have a 1.1. 1.1 is in white screens. That's not a high gain. That's like Jamie sitting there talking about that 3,500 lumens is a high lumen projector. You guys don't know jack at the end of the day. My PX747 ViewSonic is 3,500 lumens. Heck, the projector I have in the next room, well, as a matter of fact, I gave it to a customer, 720p 600 by 800 res SVGA ViewSonic projector with 3,800 lumens. No, you got that kind of mixed up. When you start hitting 5,000 and up, this is where projectors start costing money, and they call them venues when they start reaching 5,000 and up. Even 4,000 is not considered to be venue anymore. You can get projectors at 4,000 lumens. These are about 3,500 lumens is considered to be a high lumen projector. Gee whiz, my goodness, man. If that's the case, then my NEC projector on the floor is 3,600 lumens, ultra short throw. That's not even venue. No, you don't know what you're talking about. 1.1. 1.1. Gee whiz.
Prove something out to you that we've discussed for quite some time. Now you can go lighter on the screen color and get it to give you a full 160-degree viewing angle.
No, you cannot. If you go with the lighter screen, that means your contrast and colors are going to fade right from the door. Lighter screens do not possess ambient light projection technology. If you Google will exactly tell you what's the benefit of a black screen. Black screens actually have more advanced versions of ambient light projection technology. They have more detail, they have better contrast, they produce better color, and they fade less in fully lit environments. The gray screens are the cheaper screens. Those screens are pretty much what we call next to the bottom dollars, which is the white screens. No. If you have a true black screen that has full ambient light rejection technology, it should be the register. When you turn to the side, it should pick up with no problem whatsoever. From corner to corner, it should be sharp without any dirty look to the screen. Gee whiz, my goodness, I swear.
You know, in so long as it's not super gain. In other words, once you get with a darker color and you start getting up around 1 to 1.1, 1.2 gain, you're really going to start to notice drop off. But I want you.
Danny, when you watch this video later on, you're a freaking idiot. That's all I gotta say. You're a freaking idiot. 1.1 is not high on a screen. It's not. Dark Star 9 is a 0.9 screen. Daylight screen, which I can't pronounce that name right for Jack, is a 0.8. A 0.8 screen. The Cinema Gray 5D, Cinema Gray, Cinema Gray is 2.0 or something like that, 2.0 or something like that, 2.0 or something like that. I gotta look that up. But I do know for a fact that a 1.1 is what you find in a white screen. Jeez, I swear, this guy, man, this guy is really, I hate to call people idiots, but you don't know anything what you're talking about. Where would you even get that from? Diamonds don't even come in 1.1s. That's extremely low. This will explain why you thought your screen had a 1.1. 1.1. Oh, wrong keyboard. 1.1s are white screens. White screens, I'm looking at this right real quick. Get this right here, the gain on white screen. Oh, but you guys blowing up too much for this one. Here we go. Better. 1.1 is what you're going to find in a white screen. White screens have 1.1s. They have 1.1s, they have 2.0. 2.0 is considered to be really high on a white screen. That's considered to be really high. 1.1 is low. Now see this screen right here? This screen right here has a 1.2. Sorry if I can blow this up for you to see this. That is extremely low. It's a 1.2. That's why it's called paint on screens. We have paint on screens over here. Paint on screens can't go up in fully lit environments. Every different demonstration we saw on the screen is extremely low. 1.1. So right here, 1.1. What color is the screen? Max white. That's a 1.1 gain. White screens have 1.1s. Gunmetals don't have them. They require a much higher lumen count in order to be able to generate a high enough white level in order for the screen to pick up and maintain white levels and beautiful colors. Can't use a 1.1 gain. Here's another screen right here. This is also another white screen that has a 1.1 gain. 1.1 gain is for white screens. 0.1, 2.0, those are usually what you'll find in white screens. Here's another screen right here. This is another white screen. What's the gain on it? 1.1. That's an AVS Forms right there. Storage Cinema. The only screen I think I've seen that pretty much had a 0.9 was an Elite screen had one. It actually had a 0.9 gain on screen, but then again, I don't really know too much about that one because I couldn't get that thing to pull in a fully lit environment. Let's see. Why did they judge? Oh, these are gunmetal. I forgot these are gunmetal screens. Wait, ViewSonic has a projection screen? You've got to be kidding me. What? I gotta test this one. We definitely gotta test this one. ViewSonic has a projection screen. Look at this. It's gunmetal, it's not black. They got a projection screen. Oh, we gotta test that. We definitely have to test that. I definitely gotta put that against my black technology. Oh, heck yes. Challenge accepted. We're definitely challenging that screen. Heck yes. Sorry, people. I'm a little excited here. I love to test against our technology. I love doing tests. We'll crush this with no problem. This would be easy. It's a $1,500. It's a $1,600 screen. Look right there. $1,600 screen at 120 inches. Oh, this is going to definitely worth my time. I definitely got to call them up. I got to keep this page right here. We got to call. I didn't even know they had a screen. Now I got to search and find some other screens and see what we got today. That's it. All right, let's get back to this video because I'm interested in this right here. I want to go back and see what else, who other companies got their own screens at the end of the day. I got to find out. Oh yeah, we got to look into that. All right, let's get back to this nonsense.
Watch, see how dark this one appears compared to the other, okay? What you'll notice is that that one doesn't change.
No, you just saw it a few minutes ago. See, what happens is this screen has an extremely poor angle gain attached to it, and I'll show you why. When he turns to the side, watch. When he turns to the side, this one's going to go really dark. And the reason why is because it has a poor gain. When you have a screen that doesn't have a high enough gain and it has really poor light capabilities, it has really poor gain, angle gain attached to it. Watch.
Once you get with a darker color and you start getting
this one's lighter, watch when he turns.
Gain, you're really going to start to notice drop off. But I want you to watch. See how dark this one appears compared to the other. Okay.
You see how dark it got that quick on the screen? This is bad. This one right here comes up dark. He can't get his balance is way off. So this one, when you look at it head on, comes up too dark. This one, when you look at it head on, comes up bright. This one, when you turn to the side, it becomes dark. This one becomes lighter.
What you'll notice.
There you go.
Is that one doesn't change from side to side. Stays the same.
Also becomes dark. So this one has angle gain, but you can't watch it head on because the screen becomes too dark. This one you can watch head on, but it doesn't have angle gain.
Right? So that's why when I tell you that when you see
right there, see how much dirty the image came up right here? There you go.
These black screens that have a full 180 degree or full 160 degree viewing angle where it doesn't change from one side to the center, okay? That is a very dry screen. And this is what a screen like that looks like in person with roughly about 16 to 1800 lumens. And I'll show you real quick, sorry, that you'll notice as I move to the side, and I'll stay on that one. See how it looks very similar.
No, it doesn't.
To what you're accustomed to seeing.
That's too dark.
On certain channels.
That's way too dark. Your angle gains go way off.
Stay.
That's very horrible. That's not good at all. Period. If you were to put this on a much larger scale, this would be absolutely horrible. That is completely washed out on this side.
Right there, we start to lose it.
That's really washed out.
And I'm probably set a little high here, guys, just to be honest.
Don't make excuses for it. It's trash. This is really washed out. That should never be that washed out on an angle. Oh, lights out again.
There we go. See how you start to lose the whites, but that's not true. That's not a very accurate representation of what it really.
It is an accurate representation of what you're just showing because you're doing the demonstration yourself. What the frick are you talking about?
Really looks like it. If you had something like this next to it, well, then the game would be up. But let's get it back to 0. There we go.
All right. Bottom line is we made this stuff online. This stuff is trash. It's garbage. You can see the demonstration. It's all over the place. The screen washed out multiple times. The angle gain is extremely poor. You got one screen you can look at it head on. It's too dark. The other one that you look at is bright, but it's not actually black. It's gray, which you stated in the demonstration. If you turn to the side, one picks up with an angle gain, one comes dark. It's a mess. It's a hot mess. It's not supposed to look like that. I'm going to check my demonstration here on my screen.
So, what did you? Pods is your personal moving and storage team for moves across town or across the country.
This is what 100% black technology looks like. See how dark it is? That's how it looks like. So when I turn to the side, my screen is supposed to pull up 100% from corner to corner with no problem. It's not supposed to turn dark. It's supposed to look the same way. You just understand how angle gain works. So when you stare at the screen, it's supposed to be the same brightness as you look in the center as when you turn to the side. They must both look the same all the way around. This screen is going through a narrow viewing cone effect. That's what it's called. That's how it's displayed. If that screen changes at any given time, when you're moving back and forth, that's a problem. That's what we call narrow viewing cone effect. He doesn't know what he's talking about. That's what they call it. Stand back in there because I gotta be to work in the next room in a few minutes. Sorry about that, people. But that's what that is. When your screen basically comes up dark from one side to the next, it's called a narrow viewing cone effect. Certified screens go through it all the time because what they have this really high-end reflective surface, and that's what causes it. When they check a screen to make sure it's not having that effect, what they're going to do is they start off in the center of the screen and they move from one side to the next. The screen is not supposed to change in any way whatsoever. It's supposed to remain the same as you see it in the front. It should look the same way from here to here. He didn't quite explain that correctly to you, but that's how it's supposed to be. So if he had the color red or anything displayed on his screen, if he had turned to the side, if he showed a solid red color, his screen would have went dark automatically. Red screen. A little simple demonstration.
Getting that from YouTube.
Same way, when you look at the screen in the front, this is how they do a narrow viewing cone. You look at the screen from the front. It has to look the same way here as it does here and here when you go from here to here. The fact that when you were looking at a screen, one was dark. The minute you turned to the side, it got lighter. Then the other one was actually lighter. And then when you turned to the side, it got darker. That's not supposed to happen. Same way I'm staring at it here. The same way when I turn, that screen has to remain the same exact brightness. As I'm turning, same way. It's not supposed to change. So Danny, next time you do a demonstration like that, make sure that your screen remains the exact same brightness all the way around. can't change here. It can't change there. That's what they call a narrow viewing comb effect. The reason why you didn't know what that was because you don't know what narrow viewing comb is. You would find that if you were testing certified screens, you would notice this. That's how I learned about narrow viewing comb, by testing certified screens. You don't test certified screens against your product, so that's why you don't know about that. But your screen should never change. If you turn over here, it's supposed to be the same way it looks as you're staring at it in the middle. If that screen changes or fluctuates at any time in the video, that means you're having a narrow viewing comb effect. That's what's going on your screen right now. You don't know anything. That's the thing about it. You can't even explain this at the end of the day. You just stand right here in the front. See how that red is? See when I turn to the side? See how it still remains red? And this is with light hitting the screen, not some dark environment you had that screen sitting in. Come here, when I turn to the side, that's what you display in Black technology. Over here, what you displayed was a narrow viewing comb effect. That's what you just displayed.
Give you a full 160-degree viewing angle, you know, in so long as it's not super gain. In other words, once you get with a darker color and you start getting up around 1 to 1.1, 1.2 gain, you're really going to start to notice drop off. But I want you to watch, see how dark this one appears compared to the other. Okay.
Now watch. See the change? See how this one, when you look at it head on, it's actually dark. When you turn to the side, you can only view the screen brighter if you're standing here. This screen that was brighter ended up turning dark. That's called a narrow viewing comb effect. That means your screen can't maintain a proper viewing angle.
Notice is that one doesn't change.
Now see how that one's brighter? Now watch when he turns.
Stays the same.
That one turns darker,
right?
And this one's brighter.
So
not supposed to do
that's
that.
why when I tell you that when you see these black,
That's called a narrow viewing comb effect. That's what your screen's doing right now. That means your screen has a poor, it's unbalanced. That's the problem. Certified screens usually have this problem due to the fact that, like I said, they have the reflective coating to protect, allow the screen to be able to produce a much more brighter image. So they have this kind of reflective coating attached to the screen surface. It's a reflective coating. They usually go through narrow viewing comb effects. I don't think this one's going to have it so much. Some of them are actually pretty good at maintaining it. And this one may or may not. Get my body out of the way first. There we go. This one should do it. There we go. See it? Now you see how dark the screen gets? When I turn to the side, that's a narrow viewing comb effect. That's what your screen's triggering off right now. That's not good. That's bad. Now see how as I start to turn, how the screen becomes lighter. Then if I move back, it becomes darker. This is what I mean by when you say you made that video to educate people. You can't educate people if you don't know anything. You don't do any tests because you don't test your products. Your knowledge and particular screen paint products don't go that far. I have stacks and stacks and done stacks and stacks of certified screens. So I know what the narrow viewing comb effect is. You don't know what it is. That's why you couldn't mention what it was at all, period. Your screen's, that's extremely bad for a screen to do that, especially for that surface. Yeah, it's 1600 lumens. I had a 5000 lumen projector in here right now. If you were to take, if 1600 lumens is coming up that dark and having that much of a problem, 5000 lumens is a hot spot like crazy. So that's not a good sign. That's an extremely bad sign right there from the door. And at 1600 lumens, you're getting a narrow viewing comb effect. This is another problem right here. Look how badly the image washed out when the lights come on. That's extremely poor. This is supposed to be the darker screen. And look how badly it washed out.
let's just be honest with you. There. See how you start to lose the whites, but that's not true. That's not a very accurate representation of what it really looks like. And
It is. How is it not? You sat there and did the demonstration. That's like me sitting here doing the demonstration right here on the screen and sitting there saying, well, hey, even though we made it on camera and we painted it out and I explained all this stuff to you, this is not an accurate demonstration of it. What did we just watch a few minutes ago? If that's not an accurate demonstration, what is a demonstration? No, buddy, you made this product, you talked all this nonsense, all this trash on camera, lied multiple times through the entire demonstration, talked a whole bunch of bull crap that has nothing to do with nothing. Get up here, paint this screen down with multiple applications attached to it, and the screen has horrible, horrible viewing angles attached to it. One's coming up super dark and dirty, as you can see. The other one is not even a black screen. Technically, it's a dark gray screen. And then for some reason, the dark gray screen, which should be picking up a little higher white level, goes completely dark when you turn to the side, which is really, really, really jacked up when you think about it. It has no viewing angle attached to it. And then on top of that, the darker screen washed out on an angle gain.
Oh. Back to eco. Okay. But
That's how dirty that is.
here's where sort of the trickery comes in. Because you'll notice the white there, it's still showing. It's not completely.
Now you got a nerve to basically title a video under us using trickery, and you just use that in your demonstration. Yeah, there's definitely some trickery going on in here because this screen is supposed to be to pull up an amazing angle gain, but it's coming. The white levels are too low. Look at how dark that is.
Completely all blown
But when
out.
you turn to the side, this goes lighter. It washes out.
It just kind of glows. So let's get it somewhere right in there. And you'll notice as I move to the side, and I'll stay on that one, see how it looks very similar to what you're accustomed to seeing on certain channels. It just stays.
That completely washed out. It's not even there anymore. I'll tell you something. I've been designing screen paints for a long time. I've never seen anything react like this before. This is weird. His products are really weird. Look at this.
Right there, we start to lose it. And I'm probably set a little high here, guys, just to be honest with you.
Sit a little high with what? What do you set a little high with? What are you talking about? The fireplace literally is pulling a better image than your screen.
See how you start to lose the whites, but that's not true. That's not a very accurate representation of what it really looks like. And if you had something like this next to it, well, then the game would be up. But let's get it back to 0. There we go. That's the true light in this room. You can see everything's up fully.
That screen just pulled a narrow viewing cone effect, which is extremely bad. Which means if you shift from left to right in that environment, that screen goes dark. It goes dark or it goes lighter. It's weird. The darker, when you look at it head on, turns lighter as you turn to the side, then that washes out and loses its gain capability. Then the other side is basically not a black screen. We clearly stated it was a gray screen. When you turn to the side, it actually goes dark. You figure that one out. That's the weirdest thing I've ever seen in a demonstration. Yeah, that's weird. Maybe all that oil you just pumped into your freaking paint. You got oil in your paint. I can tell that from the door. That one you got right there, that darker one, has oil in it. That's what's happening. That's why you can't use them on ultra short throws at a hot spot like crazy. And I definitely won't be working with any venue projectors. That's not going to happen. That's absolutely awful, man. Oh, gee whiz. Seriously, man. Told you, dirty paints, man, dirty products. Don't know how to make products right. Look at this nasty mess. That is nasty. Look how dirty the colors come up. You don't know what you're doing. You don't. Honestly, I'm glad your website is not open. I'm glad you're not selling any products to the customers. You clearly don't know anything about black technology at all, period. You don't know a thing. You could even make this stuff and give it away for free. That's how bad it is. That's how awful it is. You couldn't, no one, I feel sorry for anyone who actually painted this mess to their projection screen. This is the outcome of what you got. So you explained all that nonsense on camera. Sorry about that, trying to get my stand here to act right. You explained all that nonsense on camera about this poly and bubble releasing nonsense and all that crap to turn around and come out with this awful product. This is a result. Awful, absolutely awful. Look at that. Look how dark that is. That's your real product you sell right there, or try to sell.
Paint mix compared to something that you would have to hit with about 4,300 lumens to get a decent.
Part A, we got demonstrations at 1,000 lumens in fully lit environments. We have it on our website. That's why I own all these projectors. So yeah.
Image out of
That's awful. And I'll tell you why that's awful. See the bridge? See the cables? Cables are completely gone. You see them here, but when the cables come up, they're gone. It's just too much black in there. Oh, that's awful.
All right, so hopefully this, now the way that I made that one, guys, is I used black flat paint mixed in just a little bit of black chalk paint, and then used, had just a little bit in the bottom of one of my matte polys.
That's awful. That's dirty. What is this mess right here? Because that's not picking up anything. That's coming up super dark. Look at that. That is very, very dirty. So this is supposed to be the product he's showing you how to make, which is supposed to be a black paint, as you can see. It's gray. This one right here, and it has very poor angle gain, which is extremely disturbing, which that's weird. And this one over here is supposed to be his product, and that is absolutely dirty.
Used that and then added about a tablespoonful of talc just to make it drier, and that got it so that we could get a full 180-degree angle.
No, you didn't get a full 180-degree angle. Where did you even get that from? They both turned black. What are you talking about? Gee whiz. All right, well, that's the video right there. We didn't find any customer demonstrations. We couldn't find that. I looked, couldn't find any test demonstrations on the product. And as I said before, thank God his website is closed, because again, you don't want to be spending $160 for a product. The majority, half of it is water, which makes it even worse. Oh wow, this stuff is a mess. Matching walls and everything else on the face of the planet. Now, Danny, the reason why I dug into you like this is because, again, never challenge me. Don't do that at the end of the day. That's a bad thing to do. I'm an expert in black technology. I'm an expert in ambient light rejection technology. You know, I've been in the business longer than you have. You weren't even thought of when I was doing this business at the beginning. So again, you don't know anything you're talking about. Everything I'm hearing you talk on camera is mumbo jumbo. It's lies. Nothing but tons and tons of lies. Consider the fact that when you painted those products in, you had to do that many passes over the surface, which you shouldn't have had to do at all, period. Let me see right here. Let me go right here real quick. Let's see. This demonstration. Oh no, we're in the demo page. That's why. You have to be in home. Oh, we were in home. Okay, and it should be in here. I finish the outdoor demonstrations. Let me see which one. There's the videos there. I don't know if I put them here or I put them in the demo page. I'm trying to remember if I. Oh no! It's right there on the demo page because we extended the demo page. That's where they're at. We did extend the demo page. Yeah, they definitely should be in the demo page. I don't know why you painted such a, well, we know why you painted such a small image. We painted such a small image, you can basically try to compress the image as much as possible, to come up sharper and brighter. That's why he did it. If he did that on a large scale, that would have came out even worse. I need to find this demonstration right here. I want to show that one off on my screen. Let me find this demonstration here. Versus 720p demonstrations and black projection demonstrations, black versus black sense demonstrations, easy panel paint demonstrations. Here you go. This is how fast it should take you to paint a screen. Oh, that's when I got my chair. Yeah, that's when I got my chair. That's when I got the chair in here. All right. So simple and plain. You don't take the screen apart. You don't have to do that. Put the frame, assemble it together. Put your frog tape around the screen. It's basically on the bed. Make sure it hangs a little bit over so you can tuck it under the screen. That's it. That's all you got to do. Pad the back of the bar of the screen, so that way we pad the back of it, so that way that you won't get a bar imprint in the middle of your screen. It'll stretch back nicely. And to partay, you see how many fixed frame screens I painted in? You see that vinyl background? Yeah, common sense. Yeah, I test everything. Don't you think I would have done that test already? God, you guys are so late on everything. There we go. Talked all that nonsense on camera. Your screen had horrible angle gains attached to that. See how I paint my screen? Get my corners, always. That's it. You see me doing multiple passes over the screen? This thing, no. It shouldn't take that long to paint that screen. Your product doesn't marry to the surface. That's the problem, because it's got too much water, and the other one had oil all in it. Yes, and that's a hot mess. Now that, like I said, the screen pushes up a little bit in the middle. Don't have to worry about that. That all switches right back in place. Is that the 235.1? Which one was that one? Oh, this is a 12 over 92. Let me just look right in there. Paint. I had to go down and make paint. Come back up. Yep, it's right to make paint. Let me see. Yeah, I was making paint. There we go. Or trying to roll over that surface. Doop, gone. I'm going back and forth over that screen. It's only one coat, that's it. Only thing on that one, I ran out of paint. I literally had to go downstairs and I had to actually make another batch. Yep, everybody gets that. That's the residue from rollers. When your rollers are brand new, you'll get that. Some people get the lint-free rollers. Make sure I get the little bump right there. So I take my roller and I tilt it on this side, bring it up a little bit on an angle, that's so I can get the corners real sharp. Lift it up on an angle. So you don't have to take the thing apart. That's just too much work. You take the frog tape, you go around your screen. Make sure you have a little bit on the edge. You can tuck it up under the frame. That's what you want to do. So that way that ensures that your frame is protected. Going to smooth it out. Get my corners. There we go. Now you see where the paint struck right here. That's why when you some people paint just the top part. I mean they cover the top part with frog tape. You don't want to do that. You want to make sure you get it up under the frame. So my screen's painted. It's done. I got enough. When I do demonstrations, our screens are painted. We've got time to paint and demonstrate the product. And if you notice part, if you look at it, see my screen sitting in the dark? See the size of my screen? I'm paint a little time. Why would I sit there and waste the time to do 4 applications or 3 applications on a little tiny cookie cutter? That's how easy it is to do. You spent more time painting that little tiny square. That's a 100-inch screen, 16:9. I was able to paint that screen just like that. Didn't have to take it apart. None of that nonsense. You explain to your customers what they have to do. No, just tape around the frame, paint the inside of the screen, or pad the back of it, paint the inside of the screen, and I'm done. That's it. Finished. And I got mine sitting in a door. Not pointing at a door with a screen halfway across to the room, literally sitting in the door. And my overheads are on. You must have painted over that small square piece and did about at least 20 to almost 30 to 40 passovers because you couldn't get the surface to gravitate to the surface. That's why you passed over it over and over again. That screen's drying right there. There's no waiting no 3 to 4 hours for some leveling time and all that bull crap. No. Paint the screen and it dries in front of you. You're done. I did one over here. And that screen's soaking wet. Talked all that nonsense on camera. Whole bunch of phony baloney nonsense. The abstracts and whatever crap he was saying on camera. That screen had the worst viewing angle I've ever seen. I've never seen a screen actually go from dark to light in the viewing angle. It's usually the other way around. It's usually they go from light to dark in the viewing angle. That's a new one for me. Never saw that one before. How the heck did you manage to screw that up? That's pretty interesting. Literally, the screen went from dark to light. No, it went from light to dark. Yeah, that's what you usually go from light to dark. Yeah, and two different versions of angle game. It was horrible on that. Look at this. That's the circle. This will be pulled out for the back of the screen, so that way you don't get the imprint from the bar. They don't have you go in there and take that whole screen apart. Not even know what you're talking about. Oh, this is the screen upstairs. You don't know anything about fixed frame screens. I have more fixed frame screens. I got one right here. I got another one right there. 235-inch screens sitting up there side by side in my setup. All black screens. That's the new chair I bought the King, man. I had to carry that thing up the stairs. So I had time to go in, paint the screen, display it while it was wet, right in front of a door, not sitting there in a little cardboard little cutout in a dark environment with poor lighting hitting it, right there in a fully lit environment with the door open at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, carry my game chair upstairs and sit up in my other area upstairs. Took no time at all to paint that screen. Done. Finished. And you want to talk about brightness. You see my settings, even showed my settings in my projector. All my settings are set at 0 in my projector. Brightness, picture, 0, 0, 0. Y'all talk too much trash at the end of the day. That's the problem. You can't even back your products up. My demonstrations by far blow your demonstrations clean out of the water. Painted the screen size much larger than yours. Did it in no time at all. Dried the screen right there in front of a door, and my settings on my projector are 0. Everything's marked down at 0. Oh, I love schooling this guy at the end of the day. You can't, let's put it this way, Partey. You can't make paint. You can't. You don't know how to make it. You don't even know what you're doing. You don't even know what you're talking about half the time on camera. You literally talk so much nonsense. You don't even follow your own instructions correctly. You do not know what you're doing at all. There is no way in the world that screen, that outdoor screen came up that dark, that dirty, that ugly. That thing was trifling. And then you can see the little lines all in it where you streak the daylights out of the screen. That was poorly done. And this demonstration was on YouTube. Yeah, YouTube. This mess right here, I've never seen anything like that. How the freak did you get two viewing cones, now viewing cones that pop off on two different screens? That don't make any sense. Look at this.
So it's those slight little camera manipulations that you see with black screens.
How dirty that is. That's really dirty.
Okay, so I can increase that.
That's dirty, man. I got all my projectors in here run on eco mode. We don't have to run them like that. That is horrible. That should never be that dark. That's really dirty. And then, like I said, in the demonstration, you clearly said it was gray on this side. Yeah, it came with definitely gray paint. But this is what's weird. Look at this narrow viewing cone. How the freak is that happening? This section of the screen, you had the window open, the whole section of the screen wiped out. It's gone. It's not even there anymore.
Dark in the light. I've battled so much with running out of space on the phone that it's very, very hard to stay focused because I'm constantly looking at the phone metrics to see if I'm going to run out of time. So apologies.
Excuses. Enough with excuses.
Being gloss black paint with the satin poly. When you start getting above that, then you can start running into problems with unbalanced, and it's going to hotspot. But that give you some.
You already said it's going to hotspot. Oh, it's definitely going to hotspot. I told you it was going to hotspot. He's got gel in here. He's got oil in here. Definitely going to hotspot. He's using glossy paints. That's definitely going to hotspot. Why do you think his products say you can't use ultra short throw projectors? You know what screen's going to make? Two projectors are going to make a screen hotspot extremely fast. Venues and ultra short throws. That's why it's black screen paints that can't be used with ultra short throws because they hotspot.
Some ideas there to get it brighter. The interesting one is this one. Now, here's where I want to prove something out to you that we've discussed for quite some time. Now, you can go lighter on the screen color and get it to give you a full 160-degree viewing angle, you know, in so long as it's not super gain. In other words, once you get with a darker color and you start getting up around 1 to 1.1, 1.2 gain, you're really going to start to notice drop off. But I want you to watch. See how dark this
1.1 is not high gain.
one appears compared to the other. Okay.
Now watch. This is the darker one. This is darker. This screen goes lighter. This is the lighter one. This one goes darker. You explain that nonsense. What the freak just happened here? This is the weirdest version of narrow viewing coma I've ever seen. This screen, you can look at it head on, it's lighter, but the minute he turns to the side, it goes darker. This one over here is the darker screen, but it goes lighter when you turn to the side. But if you look at it head on, it's darker.
What you'll notice.
That's extremely bad. Danny, to explain to you again how a narrow viewing cone perfect screen works, when you're sitting in the center of the screen, it's supposed to look the same way as when you turn here or here. It's supposed to show the same. It's not supposed to change. If it goes darker slightly as you're turning, this is what they call the narrow viewing cone effect. This is what your screen is triggering off right now, but in the weirdest way I've ever seen in my entire life. This screen staring on it head on, it's really dark. This one staring on it is light because it's gray. This one, when you turn to the side, turns dark. This one, when you turn to the side, turns light. Figure that one out.
Is that one doesn't change from side to side.
Now, watch this
Stays
one.
the same.
This one now is brighter, and this one, when you look on it, is dark. This one right here is brighter when you look on it, but when you turn to the side, it's dark. That's bad.
Right? So that's why when I tell you that when you see these black screens that have a full 180 degree or full 160 degree viewing angle where it doesn't change from one side to the center, okay, that is a very dry screen. And this is...
So let me get this straight. So it's a dry screen. What the frick are you talking about by dry screen? It doesn't make any sense. That sounds stupid. So you're telling me that's a good thing that's going on right now? That the fact that you stare at a screen, you turn to the side and it goes dark, that's supposed to be a good thing? No, Danny, that's called a narrow viewing cone effect. If a screen, when you stare in the middle, turns from left to right and nothing happens, that is an extremely good screen because that screen doesn't affect it by that. Gee whiz, man, your information is way off. Way off. See, sit in the center of the screen, right? As I start to turn, right? See the gunmetal screen? See how it turns dark? My screen remains the same brightness. Gunmetal screen changes, has a narrow viewing cone effect. How am I going to watch the game, or what if I have a screen that's going constantly dark when I turn to the side? That's not going to go well. Now, let's go turn to the other side over here. Right in the center again, right? Now, let's turn again. Now, see how our screen remains the same? It doesn't change. But the gunmetal change. That's bad. That's what you don't want. You're trying to tell customers at the end of the day that that's what they want, because that means any screen that does what our screen does is considered to be a dry screen. Again, I don't even know what that even means. What do you mean by dry? That's the dumbest theory I ever heard in my entire life. So you're saying that narrow viewing cone is good? Because that screen right there just pulled a narrow viewing cone. And again, here's what he's talking about.
What a screen like that looks like in person with roughly about 16 to 1800 lumens. And I'll show you real quick, sorry, that we are in Eco here.
I can do that at 1,000 lumens.
So I can increase that and take us to bright. It doesn't really make that much of a difference. So back to Eco.
Brightness on the projector is not much going to affect the screen. It's the environment that's going to affect the screen. That's the problem you're going to have. You have screens that can hit a screen at 5,000, 7,000 lumens. That is going to, yes, wash the screen out somewhat, yeah, because the screen can't even maintain the light that's being hit in it. But the main source of the problem that the screen's going to have is the surrounding environment. Since your environment's pretty dark, yeah, I don't know what you're doing here. You don't know what you're doing, man. Oh, gee whiz Louise. And then this mess.
You'll notice as I move to the side, and I'll stay on that one. See how it looks very similar
Similar to what? It's darker right here. What are you talking about?
to what you're accustomed to seeing on certain channels.
No. You cut this off the head off. Come on, dude.
Just kind of glows.
So you look at it head on. This is too dark.
So let's get it somewhere right in there. And you'll notice as I move to the side, and I'll
It's dark. He tries to move it from side to side to make it look the screen doesn't have much change compared to the one next to it. Watch.
stay on that one. See how it looks very similar.
You can see the screen right here. It's not very similar. This screen is actually darker now. This one's lighter. This was a lighter screen. Now this is the darker, lighter screen, but now it's darker on the angle. And this one becomes lighter if you pull it on an angle. It doesn't pull that way if you look at head on.
To what you're accustomed to seeing.
Now see how we try to keep the other screen out of the shot so you can see that that screen's not coming up darker, but we just saw that already. So what's the point of hiding that?
On certain channels.
See right there, you can clearly see it right there. It's dark on this side. On this side, the screen is completely washed out now.
Just stay.
That's washed out. That's not even there anymore. And that's supposed to be the darker screen, and it's washed out completely. The other screen is so dark when it comes up, you can barely see it. That's poor, man. All right, look, man, I'm done. I got to get ready. I got some things to do today. As I said before, you don't have to really worry about this guy. Because at the end of the day, when it all boils down to it, yes, his products are fake. Yes, he lies on camera. Yes, his products are very, very awful. But what it comes down to is he can't open his website. He literally cannot open his website because due to the fact, like I said, the whole theory about when I told you about it takes 4 48s to make his product, it does. Because, you know, you got to figure out which lie you're going to go with. At one point you're saying you don't do this, and there's a video clearly showing 4 colors pop up on the screen, which means we all know it goes with 4 containers. So anyway, you'd be to ship it out. And again, on the other end, you're saying that it doesn't. It just comes in basically 1 color, and you paint the screen 4 times. And if you paint the screen slightly a 5th time, it becomes brighter, which I don't even understand how that one even works at the end of the day. This is all phony. You're just making this up as you go along. This is why we don't see it in any forum sites, because you try to feed that mumbo jumbo nonsense to them, they would laugh you out of the room. It's awful. Yeah, look how dirty the other paint's coming up. That's really dirty. That's why it won't be to pass the white level test at all, period. Because it comes up too dirty. So that's the reason why he doesn't have his products available on his website. Now, don't get me wrong, I know you cursed me out. No, am I mad about that? No, really, honestly, no. It just shows you at the end of the day that I was able to ruffle your feathers. That's what it comes down to. Your product is what it is. It's a fake. Not even real. Look, sold out again. Sold out again. Oh man, yeah, you're an amazing business person. At the end of the day, you're paying for a site from square one. I think that's what it is. Now you basically can't even open up to sell a product because your product is fake. That's why. And I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that's going to test that theory about that whole evaporation paint nonsense, because pretty sure a lot of people would love to see that one, to see if we drain all the water out of your paint, is it basically going to evaporate that delivery system? No, I tell you why that water's in there. Water is in there to try to make your paint seem like something that it's not. You want to test me on that theory? Hey, open up your site. I'll come and I'll buy your product. Matter of fact, I can't buy it because you just give me back my money. I'll have somebody else buy it. But either way, we'll test that theory. We'll drain all the water out of your paint. We'll sit there and we'll see if it turns into baby powder the next day. Because if that's the case, then hey, then you can put the water in if you want. Then you're telling the truth. If not, all you're doing is just basically just thinning out the product to make it seem like it's nothing. It's a skin-like coating. It's not a paint. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Let's see. Lie, 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 lie. Let me tell you another reason why your website is bogus to it, and nothing more than a fake. Websites stay open 24/7. As I said before, our sites stay open 24/7. The only time we have an item out of stock, unless we're in the process, we don't have it available, and it says coming soon at the top, which is not available yet. Other than that, everything else we have on there stays open. It's the processing time. I say, okay, we only process on Wednesday and Thursday, which I don't. I process just about every day. But say we process only Wednesday and Thursday. So people can still make orders on the site. It's just that they process Wednesday and Thursday. So that's when I'll get a tracking number, Wednesday and Thursday. But your site is completely closed. Every shopping cart is locked. And then you have under your black paints, which I asked them to explain, seasonal. I never heard of a screen paint being seasonal. What the heck does this mean? Seasonal availability. What does that mean? What season is it available? Simple question. For people who don't know when to buy Christmas trees, we all know Christmas trees, you can buy them in from, sometimes they start in October, to tell you the truth now, or really tell you the truth. But yeah, it's a seasonal product. So this is a seasonal product. What season is it available? How about tomorrow you pop onto your site and you explain that right there, what and when it's available. Or if your site's ever going to open up, chances are no, because you can't back your own products. But yet you keep doing videos. You're doing these videos about how your product is this, that, and the other, but there's nothing open. This is what I believe, Parte. I believe that your product is, I mean, you get 4 containers of paint. They come in 4 different colors, and basically, that if you're doing it that way, it would cost you too much money. It would cost you way too much money to go in and basically make that product. Too much. Oh, do we move to likes? Likes, that doesn't bother me at the end of the day. Remove them. I don't want them. I told you how I work on here. We don't get into the gratification of likes and all that stuff. I'm in here to basically have my technology show that it's the best. And it is the best at the end of the day. It is what it is. If you guys want to buy this crappy nonsense at the end of the day, you go ahead and buy this crappy nonsense in the day. My customers on the end of the day get high performance technology. Like today, I have 150-inch of that Omega technology on my wall. When most people will be sitting up there with expensive projectors and you can't even produce in a fully lit environment. I can go on YouTube right now and I can pull up right now ambient light rejection technology. We're the only ones that pop up. Come by March, if we decide to pull all together all our technology offline and make it only for certain customers, you don't have any technology. You're subjected to basically these white screen paint products out here with white screens that don't pull off for jack. We pull that Valve technology, guess what? Those are the Valve projectors, you're done. At the end of the day, you have to be subjected to companies. At the end of the day, they're going to charge you $600 to $5,000 for a screen. And in order for anyone, and we just proved it, to even try to come close to making our technology, it takes years and years and years to do it. As we showed you with Danny right from the door. He couldn't even make a decent black screen paint at all. Period. So you have a company here that's been here for years with tons of experience that pretty much can design anything it can do at the end of the day to basically provide you with technology that you wouldn't be spending $5,000 for, like that $5,000 Nova that I got sitting on my wall over there, that the only thing you have left is gunmetal technology. What are you going to do? Trust somebody at the end of the day that can't even beat house paint? Or, even worse, somebody's product that ends up to be nothing but water at the end of the day? That's what you're paying for? That a website that can't even open up? You can't even buy the product if you wanted to. And anybody else who basically makes the product, at the end of the day, they don't have the test demonstrations to back their products. We do. So at the end of the day, I'll make my money regardless. If I decide to go full contract and do it corporations only, I'll make my money and beyond that because my technology is better than everybody else's. But like I said, for my customers that are thankful for our products, we do appreciate you at the end of the day. For you naysayers at the end of the day, we couldn't care less. You're not welcome to buy my products, ever. We know what you're stuck with. Anytime I turn down a customer, I know what's going to happen to them. I know at the end of the day that they only have certain options they can go to. We know that. You can't go to anybody else because nobody else has our experience at the end of the day. It takes 8 to 9 years to develop black technology. It takes a long time to do it. And these guys come up here with these quick fix ideas on how to make your own black paint. Couldn't even make a proper black paint. It came up gray. Whatever. So no, I'm not in it for the likes. I'm not in it for the views. I'm not in it for the subscribers. We come on YouTube to show you exactly what you're buying at the end of the day when it comes to our technology and what you should be looking for when it comes to projection screens or when it comes to screen paints, what you should be looking for. Because a lot of you right now are sitting in the dark right now. If I sit there and type out right now, ambient light rejection technology, how many screens are we going to find are going to match our tech? I've already got 26 offers for the Omega 1 to transfer over into contracts only. And they're offering me a lot of money for that black technology. Black technology usually sells the highest because it's unheard of. Let's look for ambient light rejection screen paints or projection screens. Ambient light rejection screen paints or projection screens. It's the same old thing we see every day. Now I'll sit there and hear people say, well, you know, I'm not going to buy his products because this, that, and the other. We know where you're going at. You're going to go with the white screen. And what's going to happen is when you go with this white screen, your colors and contrast, oh, it's going to wash out. You're going to be stuck in a dark environment. That's what's going to happen. We can't even find anybody to match the OLED demonstrations. It's the ambient light projection. That'll be us. We've seen this one already. Guy starts off in a dark room, ends in a dark room. It's supposed to be a homemade, do-it-yourself ambient light rejection screen paint. Let's see how the environment.
This wasn't no bear. It was like a bear squatch.
Dad, what's a bear squatch?
It's a cross between a bear and a sass. It's made up. He's usually sleeping.
He'll never
I
sleep
think I may
again.
go home.
Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer.
Really? Screen's beautiful. Very nice job. The material alone, not going to happen. That can't even see a 100% contrast level, and ambient light rejection is not going to work with it. The darker the technology, the better the ambient light rejection. That's how it works. Something I saw real quick, real fast. I love when they rush stuff in these demonstrations. That's not wallpaper. Wallpaper would be credit card thin. That's wallpaper. See how fast they move that? I hate that when they do that in demonstrations. I really do hate that. They move that camera way too fast. It was covered up. All right, let's see. You know what I'm gonna do? Next year, I'm gonna pull my technology for 2 years. We'll do it companies only. And we'll see what happens. I told you about the industry. We're not worried about anyone coming in and basically trying. It can't match our tech. We already know that from the door. We set the bar way, way, way too high. They have to do those test demonstrations. I told you before, white level tests are extremely important. If not, screens come up too dark without those tests. And just to show you how advanced our technology is, as a matter of fact, anyone, and I mean anyone who develops a technology will buy your stuff and will make a product in 20 minutes. And well, matter of fact, we don't even need that. We have an Alpha 1 coming out. And Alpha 1 has sun killer technology embedded into it. That's a screen that can draw in sunlight. It can actually, sunlight can push right through it. Yeah, that right there is going to be amazing. By then, I hope we got some black certified screens to challenge against that technology. Hopefully by then. If not, oh, by the way, the Alpha 1 technology will be a spray-on application only because we want it to be a high-grade concentrated technology. That's why. It has to be. We can't embed sun killer without being 100% spray on. But there's no light going on right there. What happened? The window is really, really dark back there. Let me see what's going on right there. Nope. Got the window covered up with a shade and all that. See, that's what I don't like. I don't like demonstrations like that. Look how dark the environment is. So what's this supposed to be? Ambient light rejection test 2? Oh, please don't tell me this. This better be a TV. This had better be a TV. That better not be a projection screen. That cannot be a projection screen. Is that a projection screen? Why would you have an ambient light rejection for a TV? You wouldn't need that for a TV. Oh, that's the dumbest thing ever. Really? And then you have it in the dark and light. Someone just got to be trolling with that one. Why would you do an ambient light rejection for a TV? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Let's see what else we got here. Well, that's us. And that's screen innovation. That would be us outside. Let me see. No, that's not even fully lit environment. What's that? Silver screen, reflective gray. Ah, great God Almighty! What the freak? Seriously, we just found one demonstration. This screen's washed out, as you can see. That's in a dark environment. Let's go take a look at this one. Dark environment. We get the speed to come up on here. We get speed for the other one. Put it down at no one. We see this thing. Yeah. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. This is what you guys will be dealing with. Good luck. This is supposed to be ambient light rejection technology. That is extremely bad. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Look. I got under my contract, my technology can go for $5,000 a quart because I can do things that other screens can't do. I can pull up in fully lit environments. That is what you're going to have to deal with. There you go. Nice. Spend all that money for that good investment for that projector to get that, and my customers will be going out and buying cheap old projectors and fully lit environment demonstrations. I got 150-inch screen to paint today. Man, that's awful. That's absolutely awful. Nice system, beautiful system. I love it. But other than that, no, that's not ambient light projection. He has an Epson projector. Nice sound system. Sound system is beautiful. He's got to turn the lights up, so you can't use this in a fluid environment. The screen's going to wash out. There you go. Told you. Let's see. I think we're going to do that. Alpha 1's come out. We're going to pull off for a while, for at least about a couple of years. I want to explore some other things at the end of the day. That's the back of the screen. It can't be the front. That's the front of the screen. Any screens we see like this, automatically from the door, we automatically know from the door, it's not going to react. No, better be us. Better be us. Let me see. If you're doing ambient rejection, why are you in the dark? Technology. This is what I'm looking for, people. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm not seeing from you. This is what I want to see. Simple and plain. Black technology, layman's white wall, light over top. That's a floodlight over top my screen right now. 1,000-watt floodlight on my screen. That's what I'm expecting to see. We don't see any of this. Now, like I said, I'm grateful for my customers. The naysayers that are upset and angry, I don't care at the end of the day. I really don't. You can't back your products up. Anyone who supports something, hey, we know where you're at the end of the day. You're sitting in the dark all day long, trying to figure out exactly where your coffee table sits at. You don't match any of our demonstrations whatsoever. And from what I've seen in the black paint products, gee whiz, that's it. Now you got to be kidding me. We've been developing black technology 8 years ago, and that's the best. Really, you kidding me? We can't even get a black certified screen to test against our technology. We got technology already lined up for 2024 coming out, and we still haven't seen anything yet. These are test demonstrating 3D mapping applications. I am so bored with the freaking industry that I swear that at the end of the year, I'm thinking about this, selling our technology off to a higher bidding company and just retiring for good. There's no challenge. It's boring. Just trying to find somebody that can do something. I mean, make a good product. I couldn't care less at the end of the day if it's better than mine. Just make a good product. It isn't about this. That's the thing about it. What you guys don't understand at the end of the day, it's not about being, well, it is about being number one and having the best product. That is definitely, yes, about that. But I would like to see more of my kind out there, which would be really nice, because that means at the end of the day, people are not getting that crappy paint from Danny at the end of the day, or some watered down, some house paint from Crow. They're actually getting real products that work. So the customers have a better product at the end of the day. And instead of these guys coming in and meeting the demand of challenging me and giving me a product that's worthy of my time, they come up with this freaking cartoon paint at the end of the day. That stuff is a joke. You guys you forgot the entire thing about it's all about making good products for the customers. And yet you guys come up with these trashy garbage products. Good gracious, man. Then you got people making these fake knockoff projectors, and not even overseas anymore. Now American companies are making these fake knockoff projectors, and these projectors are designed to go with certain type of screens, or that customer is just stuck with a white screen or whatever crappy other paint that somebody else comes in the day that's not even properly tested. Danny, where are your tests? Where are your white level tests on your products? Do you have any white level tests at all? You don't have any at all. Man, as of this day, I'm tired. I'm tired of talking to you about you guys at the end of the day. Don't challenge me on anything else. At the end of the day, we're done here. I'm so sick and tired of your crappy, trashy products at the end of the day. You have no demonstrations whatsoever. My entire website, one of my websites could basically crush both of your websites together. You have no information on your products. What the freak does a Frankenstein paint? At the end of the day, you can't use this inside your home. Why can't you use it inside your home? I asked this guy this question 100 times. Why can't you use it? What's the reason? Because you don't know. You guys are just making this stuff up in your head and just adding like this and that. And parte, you are the worst of the worst. I've never seen somebody talk so much bull crap in my entire life. Literally just watch that demonstration of you talking about absolutely nothing, and then turn around and both screens have a horrible narrow viewing cone effect. One screen washes out when you put the window light on it. Oh, it's a freaking mess. And of course it's going to hot spot. There's oil in it. Gee whiz. I've been in business for what? How long? And all the fake demonstrations you've done, you still can't take my company down. I could crush all of y'all with no problem whatsoever and still develop new technology and build another company as we speak. Gee whiz. I hope there's someone who watches this demonstration thinking, yeah, I'm going to take this guy down. Good. Bring it. Show me something. Because at least when I decide to retire and pull all my technology and I'm done, I'm never coming back, at least somebody's there to basically start off where I started off at. That would be nice. Because I do plan to pull my company soon. Not anytime soon, but you know, I got plans, other things I want to do. I mean, I've been doing screen paint for a long time. I've been thinking about it for a long time. I've been doing screen paint for a very long time. And I want to do something else. I'm tired of it. I am. I've been doing it for a long time. I just want to do something else. I really do. So if I'm going, all my tech goes with it. All of it. Every single drop of it, all goes with it. It goes get wiped. You'll never see it ever again. But until then, I'm here. Until I figure out, you know, I'll do something else. I made it good enough money. I got enough money set in the bank. I got investments. I'm good. So, you know, think about doing something else. But anyway, I would love to see somebody come in and basically design a good technology. I really would. A really good one. A really, really good one. That has a couple years under his belt of experience. Is doing the same test demonstrations. Am I threatened by you? No. Why would I? I'm not threatened by you at all. I have years and years of experience. Don't care at the end of the day. I'm good. But I would like to see somebody take off and do something better than what I'm doing at the end of the day. I would love to see that. Because that means at the end of the day, this is a person that can go in and change the industry from that nonsense. Or you have to be stuck in ambient light controlled environments. You got to calibrate your projector. You got to buy a projector with the high contrast. All that bull crap at the end of the day. Because I'm not going to be doing this forever. I'm not. There are other things I want to do. So, let's see if we can find somebody. So I said, why don't you give your secrets up? No, that's not going to happen. It goes with me. When my time comes that I'm not going to do this anymore, I'm going to shut down all my websites, pull all the Facebook pages, all that'll be gone, and I'm burning all my ingredients. I'm done. I'm walking away from it all. What I'm going to do? I'm good. I got investments, so I'm good. Okay. Well, no, I can't. That's why I hate watching you doing these demonstrations on people's products, because again, this makes me freaking, it ticks me off because I expect to see better. Gee whiz, I swear. Technology we haven't even touched yet. This is technology we made years ago. Never even bothered with it. Panel projection screens. Never even bothered with it. It's still sitting in the cookbook. Sun killer technology. We're using this. We're definitely going to be using this. This is going to involve the 12. The only reason, I'm going to tell you something. All I want, technically, before I actually leave, I want to be to get my screens into one of those expos, which I want to do. And I want to get my storefronts. I want to see how other people react to my technology. I want to see people come off the street and I want to see them react to my technology. That's it, and I'm good. I don't care about the money. I don't care about people saying, well, you know, I really don't care about that. I just want to see how people react to my technology when it's not online, when it's not behind a camera. That's what I want to see. I've already seen it dozens of times where people walk into my house or apartment and they'll see the technology and their jaws will drop. But I want to see that at masses. I want to see about 40, 50, 60, 100 people walk in and see this. That's what I want to see, that reaction. This is what 12, not 12, this is what the Alpha 1s are getting embedded with 100% of this gain technology. Like I said, we engineered it when we first developed it for a technology that was designed for storefront advertising. But we decided to turn it into a gain instead. It's actually one of the elements that's dropped in a lot of our screens. That shows you that the screen is not inside the glass, it's outside. That technology right there can absorb sunlight. Show me any demonstration on YouTube right now of someone doing that exact same demonstration with that crystal clear image popping up. My projector is on the opposite side, pushing through. So what's the projector? The projector is 43. 43 don't mean jack when you're talking about direct contact with sunlight. Which is interesting because on the other side of this, that screen doesn't even pick up. It doesn't exist. So you can see the projector can hit here and pick up. But when it pushes through the screen, there's nothing there. That means that when that sunlight hits that screen, that projector on the opposite side, and it's pushing the image right through sunlight as sunlight is pushing right through the screen at the same time, and it can maintain the image. Now, you imagine that embedded into a Alpha 1 technology at 100%. That's a technology there. That little sample sheet, it's only at 50% done. At 100%, an Alpha 1 will have the ability to sit in the middle of sunlight and produce, and you can watch a football game. That's what we're working on in 2024. It's supposed to be an invisible AR12, but now it's going to be converted into a high performance gain. And that means if we decide just to sell the gain by itself, it's worth millions of dollars. That means any paint that you drop that element into, boom, will have the ability to be able to absorb sunlight. But it works better with much darker screens. What do you think all the technology we have around here has in it? It has a little bit of this stuff in it. All right, well, that being said, I got to go take care of Taco, open up a window, and see exactly my products got here. Tape out the wall, prime the wall, get ready. I got to prime a wall today, too. That's going to be interesting. And paint in my giant Omega 1, which I'm going to be changing the name to that, too. We got a name for what we're going to call it. I'm not going to change them out of the Omega 1. I want something different. So I had to go in and change my dummy labels today. Where are the dummy labels? Let me see if I have the dummy labels here. Let's see. No, we're good with all this. We don't do that. Let's see where we have their dummy labels. Let me change your dummy labels on that one. All right. Let me see. Omega 1. There we go. I'm going to change that one. But anyway, look, you have to understand people. Understand some of you get a little bothered by the way I speak and all, but I'm very passionate about my work. I expect better. I expect better screens. At the end of the day, if I wasn't making this stuff and I was subjected to that stuff at the end of the day, there's no way in the world I would touch a projector at the end of the day. I'd just buy me a TV because that's where I was before I started getting into this business. I had all TVs. Didn't buy projectors. Didn't buy projectors for Jack. Number one, didn't want to be stuck in the dark. Screens are washed out. All the time I saw demonstrations, I would buy a TV any day over a projector. That's how I was before I got into this field with projection screens. When I didn't exist and somebody else wasn't doing what I was doing, I would have an OLED TV in here. There's no way in the world I'd be sitting in the dark in my environment with some projection screens and poor washed out color, especially when I'm a gamer at the end of the day. That is not going to work. All right, well, with that being said, I got to go. Thank you all, and God bless.